of Maryland. We cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5 FM. From the top of Wologisi to the beaches of Maryland, we cover Liberia like nobody else does. This is Spoon 107.5 FM.
Good morning, Liberia. Good morning to you, wherever it is you listening to us from across Liberia, or whether you're listening there in Lofa, in Nimba, in Bon County, in Margibi, in Grand Bassa, Grand Jida, Sino, Riverside County, Grand Cape Mount, Bapolu, Bomi, Maryland, and the rest of the counties making up Liberia. We love to say a pleasant welcome to you. And for those of you watching us all around the world via Spoon TV, Super TV, Fabric TV, and of course we're on YouTube. Our YouTube handle is Spoon Talk. You can watch us live as well. My name is Diamond Slanger. I'm here with Yekezi Zogbe. Is here in studio this morning. Good morning, Yekezi. How are you?
Good morning, Diamond, and it's a pleasure to be here this morning once more to serve the people of Liberia their usual breakfast on the Today Show.
Okay, Yekezi, it's a pleasure having you on, as well as we seek to make sure your audio is crystal clear and your video is also perfect. But we woke up this morning to an explosive news, Yekezi. Coming in from Bon County, we'll be speaking with Kongwe Bokokoli, who's one of our Bon County correspondents, to tell us the latest. But information emanating out of Bon County says a fuel tanker, Yekezi, carrying 6,000 gallons of fuel or gas exploded this morning just along the Banga Highway headed towards Banga, right around Kari, the Central Agricultural Research Institute, Kari, right around there. The tanker exploded, but thankfully, there's no casualty reported, according to what we've gathered so far as preliminary information. Is that 5 persons were on board and within the immediate proximity when the tanker flipped and fell over, and exploded. Thankfully, there's no fatalities, but people are said to have sustained minor injuries. So we'll be speaking to our Bon County correspondent later on during the course of the program to bring us up to speed. But Yekezi, Bon County again, fuel tanker again.
Yeah, and that's just what I was about to say. What is it about Bon County and tanker explosion? The previous incident in Totota, we saw how catastrophic it was. It killed several individuals. And this time around, another explosion. Thankfully, this time, nobody died, and there's no, severe injury. That's the good news. But what is it about Bon County and tanker explosion? And Damon, this reminds me of an incident when I was heading from Nimba here to Monrovia. So that was in Kakata. So there was a tanker that broke down on the roadside. But then guess what? Similar incident that occurred in Bon County in Totota, that several individuals died after the tanker exploded. I did see Liberians with buckets, with gallons, trying to pull fuel from that tanker that has broken down in Kakata City, right around the BWI vicinity. I saw several residents of Kakata with buckets, with gallons, trying to pull fuel from that tanker, forgetting, or maybe not forgetting, about the recent incident in Totota that led to the deaths of several individuals. And I was like, wow, Liberians, I don't really think that they've forgotten, but maybe again, the adversity lead them to doing those things. But I don't care how difficult the country is. I don't care the level of adversity in the country. I think your life comes first. So something that endangers your life, especially an incident that we experienced that was very catastrophic, I think we should learn lessons from it.
Okay, lessons must be learned from issues, incidents, or whatever occurrences in our lives. But we'll speak more about that particular incident there reported in Bon County, just along the Banga Highway, the Central Agricultural Research Institute, just around that end, where that tanker carrying 5,000 gallons of gas exploded after flipping over. So, folks, welcome. Vince Ace to today's show on Spoon 107.5 FM. We're live on Fabric 101.1 FM and a host of other stations relaying us all across Liberia. We will run you through what we have lined up for you this morning on the program. We have the day up segment where we will be bringing you the weather forecast, the central bank exchange rate, the flight schedule there at the Roberts International Airport, the fares, domestic transportation fares all across Liberia will also be discussed and provided to you on the program. We also have trending issues, a lot of trending issues in the country, ranging from what we're hearing is that the president has sent the ArcelorMittal Third Amendment to renegotiations, concerning monopoly of the rail. But as our guest on the program this morning will be the Presidential Press Secretary, Kula Fofana, Anthony Kula BN Fofana. Let me give out our entire name and title. I don't want to be held any contempt, any legal issues, legal wranglings, and all of that. So at 9 a.m. this morning, we'll play host to the Presidential Press Secretary, Anthony Kula BN Fofana. She will be in our studio. We'll be discussing all of this, and definitely we'll be asking her whether or not the ArcelorMittal deal that is held to have that will provide the government $200 million in signing bonus if it has come back to the negotiation table. And if so, why? Kula Fofana joins us at 9 a.m. this morning. We'll be speaking to our county correspondents as well to know what's happening across Liberia. It's reported that the feast, of the late Nimba County Senator Prince Y. Johnson has been postponed indefinitely. And the reason, reportedly, family disputes. We'll talk about that as well. News coming from Bombing County, news coming from the rest of the country will definitely be brought to you this morning by our county correspondents. Trending issues as well. You can see a lot of trending issues in the country. Now, what I'm hearing is Suing susu.
Mm.
Have you heard?
Suing susu.
Suing susu.
Oh, suing.
Yeah,
Suing.
you know, you
That
sue me, I
is
sue you.
Yeah.
They tend to susu.
Okay. Yeah, that is filing lawsuit after another. You sue me, you file lawsuut against me, I file
I mean,
lawsuit
you know,
against
broke. Me, I'm no broke like you. So
No, I want you to make it. I want you to make it explain because we got susu here in Liberia. He says susu, suing, susu.
that's susu like you
E.
and the suing version. You carry
Okay.
to quote, I carry to quote.
Okay.
We'll talk about that as well, and many other things happening in the country. But first up, let's start up with this parable that says, "Not everybody with toothpick in their mouth eat meat." You get it? Let me say again. Our proverb for this morning is in Kolokwa. Our African parable is in Kolokwa. Not everybody you see with toothpick in their mouth eat meat. You do that thing before? When we go eat Gary yogurt, because we won't belong to. So we put toothpick in our mouth after recent period, and we picking our teeth like we come and eating meat. Not everybody with toothpick in their mouth eat meat. You can see. What do you make of that?
Yeah, of course. You don't just want to see anybody from the first look, and you try to conclude maybe based on the person physical appearance. I mean, you don't just want to conclude who the person is based on their physical appearance. There might be just more to that person that you don't know about. So just seeing somebody at first sight and concluding, that this person is this way or is just describing the person based on how you see them or concluding absolutely about that person. I don't think it's necessary. You have to go deeper to know that person better before you can decipher their character or their personality. That's our understanding.
Okay. So folks, that is it for you this morning. Not everybody you see with toothpick in their mouth eat meat. Not everybody you see get toothpick in their mouth come from eating meat. That's food for thought for you this morning on the program. We'll go quickly to the weather forecast for you. According to BBC Weather, that is where we get our weather forecast to share with you on the show. So this is what's up for the weather. We have the general forecast saying thundery showers and gentle breeze. Thundery showers and gentle breeze forecast across the country. And we will also be giving you quickly hourly updates. Yes, we in the dry season, as is said. Yakazi, are we not in the dry season?
We are.
But because of global warming, climate change, and all of that, we're still experiencing rains here in Liberia. So thundery showers and a gentle breeze with temperatures ranging from 23 degrees Celsius, the lowest, to 28 degrees Celsius. That is the highest. From 8 a.m. this morning up to 9 a.m., we do have thundery showers expected across the country, but with clear skies. 10 a.m., sunny forecast across the country that it will be sunny just for 10 a.m. And then at 11 a.m., we expect light rain showers, but with clear skies. It then gets sunny again. The sun shines again from 12 midday up to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. So you have hours of sunlight during these times of the day. 12 to 3, yes, sunny across Liberia. But then from 4 p.m. up to the early hours of tomorrow morning, we should expect thundery showers all across the country. So you need to take your umbrella wherever it is you go into. Don't mind the sun and all of that. So that is from BBC Weather. That is where we get our weather forecast to share with you on the program. Remember to take your umbrellas along so that you don't be found wanting. All right. With that being said, we move to the central bank exchange rate, and we do get our exchange rate from the Central Bank of Liberia, and they have a disclaimer on their page. It says that these are indicative rates based on daily surveys of the foreign exchange market in Monrovia and selected cities in Liberia. These rates are collected from the central bank, commercial banks, the parallel market, and licensed forex exchange bureaus. the rates are not set by the central bank. So the central bank is giving us a disclaimer there. So the rate we give you, what you might experience outside might just be different. You can see. So the buying rate by the central bank is 182 Liberian dollars, equivalent to $1 United States dollar, which 5 USD will give you 910 Liberian dollars. Yeah, because you're always exchanging money.
I'll show you.
I mean, you exchanged money yesterday. I was right with you. You exchanged $50. So
yeah. So I mean, did last night I did exchange $10. Yeah, $10, and then to my surprise, I was given was 1,760. 1,760. Usually it's been 1,800. So I think
that means it's 176.
Yeah. So on the black market, I think the rate is actually dropping. Yeah.
All right. So the central bank says the buying rate is 182. That's 182 Liberian dollars, equivalent to $1 United States dollar, and the selling rate is 184. That is 184 Liberian dollars, equivalent to $1 United States dollar. So if you're taking $5, meaning you have to get 940. But again, we do know that if we're taking Liberian dollars to pay for USD, we're paying at a rate of 200. When you go to these stores and these businesses, I was involved in a conversation with another person just yesterday. Because what happens is, if you are to pay using Liberian dollars for a service that is in USD, you pay at a rate of 200.
Yeah.
But if they give you change and they get US,
they wouldn't give you that.
They'll give you the change at a rate of 180 or 170 or 182 or 184, whatever it is. So then I asked the person, I said, but but why is it you taking 200 from me and you giving me 186 because now you don't have change? They say, oh, like we don't want going low for US. So I said, okay, myself do the money you give me, I'm going low for US.
Yeah, and that's how it's done in most of the stores, supermarkets, in entertainment centers. I mean, that's what they do. Once you don't have I mean you don't have US to pay for the commodity, and you want to pay in LD. I mean, they gave you 200 rate. But if you should have Liberty, the Liberian dollars, I mean, they change the rate for you, and that is beneficial to them instead of the customer. The customer, loses a lot in that transaction.
Tado, if you're giving me my change, and you're supposed to have given me USD, and then you say, oh, I'll give it to you at a rate of whatever, because I go in low for US, I'll tell you myself to go in low for US. So we're all looking for it, because I understand you're doing business, but if you accepting a rate of 200 from me because I have to pay for something in Liberian dollars, which is the equivalent to the USD, because you say you're going to buy USD, and you want me to accept that you're giving my change at a rate of 186, me too going low for US. You just want to give me my change in, let's assume you just want to give my change in $6 or $5 or whatever, and you do not have. You're giving 200 now, because at the end of the day, I'll be the loser. But anyway, that's a conversation.
I mean, in that particular transaction, you are seen as an individual customer.
I'm going low for you.
You are seen as an individual customer. You're not seen as a business person.
I'm looking for US too.
Yes.
Okay, you were to give me $5 USD. Now you don't have. Or you were to give me $3. If I were to pay the $3 to you, you would take it from me at the rate of 200.
200.
Now you are to give me $3, and now you want to give it to me at the rate of 180.
At a lower rate.
No, give me at the rate of 200, because then I'll go outside and look for $3 in USD.
Yeah, I mean, logically, I think that's how it should be.
But business wise, they don't do it like that.
Yeah, but business wise, they don't do it.
All right, let's go to the Roberts International Airport quickly. I guess let's look for those that are flying in and those who will be flying out of the country. That is the flight schedule for the day. I jokingly saw something that was meant to be posted, but it wasn't posted. And somebody wrote a piece of advice and said, this November leading up to December, if your partner is always looking for palaver, looking for issues with you, always wanting to fight my brother or my sister. Don't fall for that, because a trap. What kind of trap is that? I guess probably you wrote that.
You should know it better, Dava.
You wrote that. But you guys will explain why you wanted to post on the page. All right, so from the Roberts International Airport, we begin with arrivals today at the RIA. We do get our data from flightradar24.com. So if there is any discrepancy, there, we just want to let you know that our source is from FlightRadar24. For arrivals today at the Roberts International Airport, and I wish to update that quickly, just a minute. Let me update that, because that flight was to arrive, at 7:30 a.m. this morning. I want to make sure that that flight, whether it has arrived or is late, that is going to speak to how, on point our data is. So let's just go quickly to FlightRadar24. Just a minute. It's going to take us a minute to reconnect. But what we want to do is give you on point data, on point, information, and not still news. We'll be going to Bon County. As I said, Congo is on a standby to speak with us concerning that incident there in Bon County being reported early this morning, that a tanker, 6,000 gallons tanker, flipped just around Kari, the Central Agriculture Research Institute. And but the good news is there was no loss of life, and those who were on board the tanker, they said to have sustained minor injuries and are receiving treatment at nearby Phoebe Hospital. Phoebe is just right around that proximity, and it's good that there were no major injuries or deaths recorded. We'll speak with Kongwe, plus the rest of our county correspondence, but let's bring you up to speed with the flight schedule for the day at the Roberts International Airport, beginning with arrivals today at RIA. All right, so for arrivals today at the Roberts International Airport, all right, so yep, all right, so that flight has taken off, you can see. So let me just give our people what we do have. So for arrivals today at the Roberts International Airport, we have Ethiopia Airlines, flight number ET942 from Freetown, Sierra Leone, arrived in the country at 10:05 a.m. this morning. Ariolanas Sosa, flight number P47536, and I'm trying to get the information here, because this P4 used to be for Air Peace, so trying to find out from our sources whether or not Air Peace has renamed or rebranded itself as Ariolanas Sosa. So when we get that information during the course of the show, we'll share with you. But if you are abreast with that information as well, you can let us know through the comment section, and so that we can provide proper information to our people. So Ariolanas Sosa, flight number P47536 from Accra, Ghana, arrives in the country at 4:15 p.m. at the Roberts International Airport. Askar Airline, flight number KP20 from Accra, Ghana, arrives in Liberia at 5:50 p.m. And Brussels Airlines, flight number SN241 from Freetown, Sierra Leone, arrives in the country at 9:15 p.m. So that does it for arrivals. We go to departures from the Roberts International Airport. And again, I want to update that on the departure radar, to see if that flight that was scheduled to have departed at 7:30 a.m. this morning from the Roberts International Airport did depart on time. So while I'm waiting for that information to load up, let me give you the rest of the arrivals, and I'll go back to that. So for departures from the Roberts International Airport, we have Air Cote d'Ivoire, flight number HF755, destination Conakry, Guinea, is expected to depart from the Roberts International Airport at 8 morning. That's in about 6 minutes from now. Ethiopian Airlines, flight number ET942, destination Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. That flight is to depart at 11:05 a.m. from the Roberts International Airport. Ariolanas Sosa, flight number P47537, destination Freetown, Sierra Leone, departs from the Roberts International Airport at 4:55 p.m. And Brussels Airlines, flight number SN241, destination Freetown, Sierra Leone, departs from Liberia at 10:45 p.m. That's according to Flight Radar 24. that is where we do get our data from. Yeah, Kezi, any information concerning domestic travels? You know, the issue of transportation fares, major destinations. We know the NTA is about to introduce 35 pieces of brand new buses. That in itself is going to go a long way to reducing transportation stress in the country. But you usually on the highways. Any information concerning the latest, if not, transportation?
Yeah, so according to the latest information from the Ministry of Transports, so the transportation fares from Monrovia to major cities in Liberia, for taxi from Tottenham-Breg to Bomi County, from Monrovia to Tottenham-Breg, Bomi County is 600 Liberian dollars in a taxi. From Monrovia to Ba in Tottenham in Bomi County is 550 Liberian dollars. That is if you are boarding a taxi. For Bon County, from Monrovia to Banga is 900 Liberian dollars. 900 Liberian dollars, and that's 11 hours, 3 hours, 11-minute distance. From Monrovia to Bungmans is 700. From Monrovia to the Swakoko area is 900. To Phoebe or Cortiton is the same 900. And so from Banga to Vonjaman is 3,000. For Grand Bassa County, from Monrovia to Buchanan is 900 Liberian dollars. From Buchanan to Riverses is 1,700, and it's 5,000 from Buchanan to Sano County. And for Bapolu County, from Monrovia to Bopolu City is 1,400 if you are boarding a taxi, and that's according to the Ministry of Transport. And from Grand Cape Mount, for Grand Cape Mount County, from Monrovia to Rabasput is 1,250. From Monrovia to Tiane, you know Tiane, you been to Tiane?
Is it in Cape Mount?
In Grand Cape Mount. I don't really know the place. I haven't been. Tierney? It's Tierney?
Yeah, my man. Because he's in the place Tierney and Tierney, like somebody that won't be born in that Tierney. It's Tierney.
Yeah, so I'm pronouncing it based on how it's spelled here. Yeah, so from Monrovia to Tierney is 900. And then we have Zouedju, Grand Juda County. From Monrovia to Zouedju is 7,000 if you're boarding a taxi. From Zouedju to Bakleville is 8,000 if you're boarding a taxi. And from Zouedju to Greenville City in Sano County is 4,500 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Vonjaman is 4,000 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Kakata, Magibi County is 300 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Harport, Maryland County is 11,000 Liberian dollars. Imagine if you're going to car, how much you go to spend 22,000 just to go in a car. You know,
that's over $100.
Yeah, that's over 100 USD.
It used to be quite higher.
Yeah, it used to be higher. It used to be higher, but I think some renovation works have been done on the road, and so it's more pliable compared to what it was a few years ago. And for Nimba County, from Monrovia to Senequale is 2,000 Liberian dollars in a taxi. From Monrovia to Ganta, which is regionally Gompa, is 1,500 Liberian dollars. So that is it for the taxi. For bus quickly, from Monrovia to Tottenham-Breg in the bus is 300 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Banga in the bus is 600 Liberian dollars. From Monrovia to Bopolu is 1,000 Liberian dollars in the bus. From Monrovia to Buchanan is 500 Liberian dollars in the bus. From Monrovia to Rabaspur, Grand Cape Mount County is 700 Liberian dollars in the bus. And to Zouedju is 4,500 Liberian dollars in the bus. To Vonjama is 2,000 Liberian dollars in the bus. And to Kakata is 150 in a bus, and to Harper, Maryland County is 7,500. To St. Nima County is 1,200, and to Ganta is 900 Liberian dollars. So those are the fares for the latest fares for local transportation in Liberia.
Thank you very much, Yekezi. So whilst we were reading the transportation fare, the list, you know, a friend of mine sent me a text. He said, "Now we know."
Right now, and that's what argument would be.
Yeah,
nobody gets exploited.
Yeah, so now we know, and that's the essence of providing information. How people use the information is on them.
And the drivers should be in the know of penalties, because there are penalties for violating or charging higher from
that is what
higher than these amounts.
That is what let's talk a bit about that before we move into other things. We have to cut across the country and all of that. But one of our foremost problems in Liberia as a nation and as a people is compliance. And I like to take it from the angle of we ourselves as citizens being complacent and not compliant with things. Example, if the government comes up and says that, look, transportation fare from ERW Junction to Central Monrovia hypothetically is 100 Liberian dollars, right?
Yeah.
Because we have this rush for vehicles.
Yeah.
And when a driver pulls over or stops and says, "I'm going to town," and people say, "How much?" He said, 250.
250.
Someone will say, "Okay, no, it's not 250, it's $100." And somebody say, "My man, you won't go, let me go," and all that kind of stuff. And even people don't want to report these things. And sometimes when they are reported, you don't see meaningful actions being taken. So it has led us to become complacent, with these things. But if we're reporting these things and the authorities were taking serious actions, we'll see compliance.
Yeah.
Like what I do notice again that is happening here, because you can come in where your point is that along the RIA highway, as the road is still being constructed, we've prayed, we've cried, we've yearned, we've gone on our knees, we've said to God, we need international standard roads in our country. And where there are intersections or detours or areas that people shouldn't turn because people live within the proximity of those areas, we're now seeing this becoming a norm that people are using the opposite lane to get to shorter exits. People using that consistently. A guy myself did it right around red light. It's annoying. It's really annoying. If you're a driver, we'll open the phone lines for at least 5 minutes, or you're a passenger, let people call and tell you their experiences with this whole issue of using the opposite lane, especially motorists and motorbike riders. If you're coming from red light and you missed it, if you're coming from town, you're going to red light, and you missed the turn around Police Academy, there is no other area to turn unless you go to what's the name of that junction? I don't know the junction name. Bob Taylor or something of that sort.
Oh yeah, Bob Taylor.
Yeah, you have to turn there, meaning you have to go all the way, reaching almost to red light, and then you turn. Because motorcyclists don't want to do that, they will take the opposite. They will take the opposite lane. That's the lane leaving from town to Pinsville, and they will ride coming towards you.
Yeah.
You as the driver now, you have to give them chance. And the police right there. Yeah. If you start issuing tickets and you start serving warnings to people, I do not, to be honest with you guys, I will say it on the show, I do not love opposite lane people.
They are violators. And it's a serious problem in our country in enforcement of the traffic laws.
So we have good traffic laws.
Yeah, the traffic laws the law is very good, but the enforcement aspect is just a problem. You see, you go where there are street lights, indications that hey, you should stop. You still see motorcyclists and even some drivers forcing their way. And that's very dangerous. And you see the police right there, and they're taking no actions. Is a norm in this country now. Is a norm whether there's a street light or there's no street light. I mean, the motorcyclists, they don't respect street light.
You mean the traffic lights?
Yeah,
The
traffic light.
3 or 4 are working.
Yeah.
Now
So-
they're giving issue. We're calling on the Ministry of Transport.
They don't
Public Works, and
respect it.
Sector authorities to look into that. The ones just around GSA Junction. I was there on Sunday. Latest as Sunday, I was there. It's now working. The one
Yeah,
at
the
Dupont
one
Road
at Dupont
Junction
Road.
is also now working. And these traffic lights, what gets me off is that we have a long history of not being compliant with these things. We learn them in school. We utilize them a bit. Red means stop, green means go, yellow means get ready, or orange, whichever color you think it is. But then we've not had the opportunity in a long period of time to abide by these traffic lights. We have a stop and go kind of situation in the country. Surprisingly, motorcyclists were getting accustomed to those traffic lights. Yeah, 1 or 2 times you see 1 or 2 violators, but on the majority, they were getting used to it. They were abiding
What
by it.
point in time, Damo, are you referring to?
I'm referring to when they were recently reinstalled or installed at the Dupont Road Junction. Remember, government supporters were posting it all on social media
Okay.
that we now do have at least 2 or 3 pieces of working traffic lights in an entire country. I noticed that from driving along that route that motorcyclists were abiding. They mainly form a bulk of the violators when it comes to
Yeah.
traffic lights in Liberia. They were abiding, right? And all of a sudden, those lights are off again. So now it's about re-education. They have to get used to it, stop, it gets back on, get used to it, stop. The next thing they'll say, when they let go, it will not stay on for long. So let everybody do their own thing. And that is wrong. That is the angle I'm coming from.
And sometimes I wonder what does it take, or how much does it take to install these lights and to make it effective?
That's a good question. We're fighting to bring on the Minister of Public
Yeah.
Works and the Minister of Transport so that they can speak to these things, because it's public safety right now.
Yeah, sure. Because I mean, it's surprised that we already have those lights installed, but to get them on, to make them effective now is a problem. So maybe it takes maybe 50 million to get them on, or to make them effective. But as a city, especially the capital city of Monrovia, these are things.
You know which one works the most?
Which one works the most?
Bond County.
Bond County. That's true. That's true.
I've noticed that.
Yeah,
That's
true.
2 traffic lights.
The one in Banga. Yeah,
They work consistently all
Yeah.
the time. I've been
Yeah.
applying that road.
yeah.
I've
So
seen them function.
I apply that road regularly. It's only once. So if I tell you that I apply the road regularly,
You're always
like
there.
in a month time, I will go name out maybe 2 times.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it was only once that I passed in Bond County and did not see that traffic light effective. But it's always on. It's always on. And the motorcyclists there, surprisingly, they do abide by it.
Because
Yeah.
it has become consistently
Yeah.
done with them. They've gotten used to it. There are 3. I think there are 3.
Yeah.
One is just around Lofa Road, where you're
Yeah,
entering.
at the
Right around the
intersection.
intersection,
Yeah.
there is one. And then there is one
Around the administrative.
around the administrative area. There is
Yeah.
one around Telecom Junction, the other road leading to Sugar Hill, and other there is one there, and then you getting out of the city, you going towards Ganta. So those 3 lights are what I've noticed. They've been working, they've been functional. So if those are examples that they have been functional for such a long time, as compared to the new ones that were just installed months ago, and all of a sudden, they're on and off and on and off and on thing.
Yeah. So for me, my main concern is how much does it take, to maintain the traffic light, to get it on a regular basis? Is it too much of a money that the government of Liberia can afford, to maintain, these traffic lights on a regular basis?
Okay.
I think the folks from the Ministry of Public Works or the relevant government institution,
Transport.
transport, they need to come up, to let us know.
Thank you, Yekezi. That's just in passing. And as we're discussing, Spoon is widely listened to by people from diverse parts of Liberia, whether in the higher echelons or the lowest of our country. I just got a text. Someone said the government is, I'm just paraphrasing that person's text. It says the government is working in to bring more modern traffic lights. You just saw the Ministry of Transport install the billboards that are promoting road safety signs and all of those. And you've seen that the government is also installing road signs along the Tottenham Boulevard and other major road corridors. So traffic lights, modern traffic lights are in the pipeline and coming. Now we agree. Worry, welcome to the program. You can just
come here, not the thing about the maintenance. That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
How many times have we not brought in traffic lights? And today we still have majority of them are not functioning. Even if you go along the Japan freeway,
yeah,
most of those lights are not functioning. The one that sometimes I see on is just the one around Nizo and the one around the 72nd Boulevard intersection there when you get on the Japan freeway. Sometimes it's on, sometimes it's off. And
the one at the Boulevard Junction right here, I think for that is been perpetually off. Yeah, right at the Boulevard Junction, around the Ministry of Health. It's been up for very, 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 very long time, and all of these things are very, very important for road usage because already in Liberia, it's difficult for people to follow traffic rules, traffic laws, and we don't have these common things, at least to facilitate the effort in ensuring that people abide by traffic laws. I mean, is a serious problem.
Okay.
And a lot of these things lead to accidents, and those accidents lead to injuries and deaths.
All right. So we have the budget for the Ministry of Public Works. I'm looking at that as well. We'll bring you up to speed with that. It says, yep, 37, 57, 41, 114, 55, 44. Okay, so 2026 is projected at $114,286,433. As I said, folks, we're working on bringing the Minister of Public Works and the Minister of Transport and people from the Public Safety Department of the Liberia National Police. Those are the key stakeholders, Worry. I'd love to welcome you to the program. Hope you're doing good. Those are the key stakeholders, when it comes to public safety in our country. And why is it we need these things as a whole country? We're still struggling with, I see the beautiful aesthetic traffic signs that have been put all across. I see the billboards at the various intersections and major points talking about traffic signs and road safety and all of that. But you're teaching us literally what we can practice. Is that the case? Because if you're telling us red means stop, green means go, yellow means get ready, we're not practicing.
Yeah, we're not practicing it. I mean, those signs are just like white elephant. They're just there for decoration. People not, practicing. People not going by, those signs. I mean, it's just there for formality, and some of them aren't even effective.
Yeah, Worry, how are you?
Yeah, Mr. Thank you, Damo. It's good to have you on the morning show.
Oh, it's good to have me on, eh?
Yeah. I think yesterday we started announcing the coming of Damo for like.
Don't bring up politics to me.
With that, we announce your coming.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a return of Damo on the.
The subject of the conversation this morning on the show. What's the latest from your end? We're discussing this issue of public safety just in passing. We will go to the counties in a minute. We have 5 minutes to go to the counties so that our correspondents can update us. And you can bring us information as well from the world of sports. We also have trending issues to share with our people. debate on those trending issues before we have our guest in the studio at 9 a.m., who's the Presidential Press Secretary, Anthony Kula B. N. Fofana. He joins us at 9 a.m. on the program. Yeah, what's your take on this whole public safety issue, the issue of road usage, motorists, pedestrians, and the rest? How can we improve upon what we see in this country? If not, what are our challenges?
I think instead of progressing, Liberia is retrogressing to the days of former President Ellen Johnson when it comes to the issue of traffic light. I mean, it was so demeaning when we saw Liberians celebrating, the restoration of traffic lights in the street. And in no time, those very traffic lights disappeared. It's saddening that the Ministry of Public Works will hire, contractors to bring in traffic lights, and in no time, the lights are not functioning. Nothing is done about it. I think on the Somalia Drive, the one we got at Banafle Junction is still functioning perfectly. Even at Nizo Junction, 72nd Junction. But what happened is, enforcement, I don't think that Liberians still got the education when it comes to why traffic lights are, placed at the different intersections. Because you still see drivers, you still see routers for the pen, and they can stay ignoring the traffic laws. And nothing is done about it, no formal education. And what baffled me the most is you got traffic light in places where the police is still posted and directing traffic, contrary to the rules of the light. And that is confusing, because if green may go and you got green on and the police is still telling you to wait, and those who the red, is restricting from coming, and the police is telling those people to go. So it kind of confuses the drivers, because they are aware that green, they are being taught nonsense that green is an indication to go, red means stuff, and yellow is that get ready to go. And you still got police posted in those very positions, contradicting the indication of those lights. That is something I think the police also need to look at, to make sure they are, because that's a form of education also for the drivers. Yes, these that are meant for this, but if you have the police contradicting them, then it's a serious issue. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Warren. Even though you came on and you tried to bring politics, but we'll move past that. Any interesting development in the area of sports happening in Liberia?
Yes, I think the government of Liberia is trying to celebrate the letting of the SKD Sports Complex.
Again?
Yeah.
How many times now have we relighted this stadium?
No, I mean, this is a FIFA approved.
No, honestly, any level put on our stadium, is it not supposed to be FIFA approved?
No, I think we were below standards.
No, my question is, you a sports veteran, you there, you practically have a room there at the Ministry of Youth and Sport. How many times have we switched on the lights at the SKD?
Well, I know when the Chinese renovated the SKD just before coming in of the former President George Weah regime. Yes, we have some form of lighting. It was like repairing those lights that we had in place.
And during the Salif administration, did we also experience renovation of the SKD?
Yes, we have renovation.
So that too.
Yeah, but the lighting now, this is a modern lighting approved by FIFA, that do away with shadows and what have you.
So that means 3.
Yes.
So we're getting it right the 3rd time, according to you.
Yeah, I think this time we got it right according to authorities at the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And to celebrate that lighting, several games has been arranged.
Also, we're doing celebration of the lighting now.
Yes.
So there's a new festival in Liberia called Lighting SKD Celebration.
So, the Ministry are all last series of matches in football and kickball to take place this Friday, the 14th.
Or at night.
No, I think one of the games will be played. Lofa versus Nemba County will be played at night.
But since we're celebrating lighting, so why we can play all of the games at night?
Okay, but my thing is, I'm for development. To be honest with you, like every other well-meaning Liberian, want to see Liberia do better. But you can not agree with what I'm about to say. That's on you. But we celebrate mediocre things way too much in Liberia. One of those things that actually surprised me was an entire ceremony to paint the ministerial complex. There was an entire ceremony to launch the painting of the ministerial complex. A government building, if not the largest conglomerate of ministries and agencies in Liberia in one place. Somewhere like any other public building that shouldn't be left to ruins and neglect. We were about to paint that building. And there was a ceremony.
Yeah, there was a press conference held to that effect.
There was an entire ceremony worry to say, look, now we're coming paint the building where you can see, yeah, the brushes, let the rollers, let the paint, and all these things. We celebrate mediocrity too much in our country, and much of that is based on political gains.
Yeah.
We want people to see that we are working and to make points.
And I think the reason we do most of these things is because we criticize almost everything in this country, and we want to make it that those who were serving before us didn't do anything. Now that we're all coming in, we want to publicize everything we do.
And I think that is particular about the case of the ministerial complex painting. We were all here and saw how, very filthy looking the ministerial complex was. I mean, there were criticisms from members of the opposition community at the time now in the ruling establishment. So probably, like what we said, just to score political points, just to, show to the public that maybe the new government is working. But Dama, like you said rightly, those are average things. Those are mediocre things that I don't think worth celebrating, especially in this time and age. But it also just points to how backward we are in, development, celebrating little things, insignificant things. I would say it is a unambiguous manifestation as to how we are backward.
Yeah. You know what? People from UL and big words. Do you have a special class where you go to and you take up a word or words for the week, you learn them, you learn how to pronounce them and their meanings? That's something that happens at UL.
Damon, it's good to be I don't want to use another term again.
No, use it on us.
Yeah. But it's good to be worthy. It's actually good. It's actually good to be worthy. Not that students of the university have a special class at 10, to learn vocabularies or terminologies. No, but terminology that vocabulary.
But as we all have said, I'm not against painting of the ministerial complex or celebrating the lights. No, I'm not. My point I made was it necessary to have an entire ceremony to announce the launching and the painting of the ministerial complex, as compared to do the work? You can take your pictures, post them, and let the work, go out there as it is, if you still want to celebrate that. But calling for a whole press conference, a whole launching ceremony, money went into calling for that press conference, right? Money went into hosting that press conference, right? And people put budget for that to say we come and paint the building.
One budget was set up, I'm sure.
All right. So, folks, let's move quickly into trending issues. A lot of trending issues across the country. We'll be going to Bond County as we speak to our Bond County correspondent. News broke this morning that in Bond County, a tanker carrying at least approximately 6,000 gallons, of fuel flipped. What happened? The driver, once he recuperates fully, will be able to inform police investigators as to what happened. But the tanker flipped, Sylvester and Yekezi, and got that fire, if you want to put it that way. But thankfully, 5 individuals who were on board did not sustain major injuries, according to preliminary information. They sustained minor injuries and have since been taken to Phoebe for treatment. We hope and pray for their speedy recovery, and thankfully, nobody lost their life in this particular situation. So yes, we've been informed that the police have, because that is just on the main road. Yes, Bond County again. That is just on the main road. So traffic will have to be diverted. We've been informed that an alternative route is being used by motorists as provided by the police and cautioned and ushered by the police. But thankfully, there are no casualties. We will give you the latest update when we speak to Kongwe, because the fire service should be moving in, to quench that blaze so that the explosion, doesn't go further. But we've been informed that the tanker itself has already exploded and the blaze is raging. But whether or not it has been quelled, we want to give real-time information to our people. So I think it's only fair that we go to Bond County now because it's a part of the training issues, and see if we can speak to Kongwe Bokokoli, who's there in Bond County for us to bring us up the latest as to what's unfolding there in Bond County. But the good news is there hasn't been any casualties, and we hope and pray that those who sustain minor injuries will receive medical attention and recuperate to the fullest. Let's see if we have Kongwe on the line. Good morning, Kongwe. How are you?
Good morning, Damo, and good morning to the people in the nation's capital. Good to be on the Today Show this morning.
It's a pleasure. Your boy Yekezi here, and Sylvester Worry is also here. So we have a full house. How's Bond County this morning, Kongwe?
Well, relatively Bond County is good, specifically from my low Fabro residents.
What's the information coming out of Bond County concerning a tanker that exploded this morning just around the Kari area there along the Banga Ganta Highway?
Early this morning, though I haven't been able to actually reach the scene, but at about 3 o'clock this morning, we saw a live video from the Chief of Operation of Police here in Bond County, Chris Golo, when he was reporting live. The tanker reported a fail on the main road, but we haven't received full details. Later, we'll be getting to the Liberia National Police for full detail. But like you following online, different media outlets actually reporting, that situation. That incident happened right opposite the Central Agricultural Research Institute, Kari, here in Bond County, along the Bangasua-Koko Highway.
Kongwe, to the best of your knowledge, is there a fire service detachment in Bond County? If so, do they have firefighting equipment ranging from trucks to any other gadgets or equipment used to fight fires?
Yes, we have, officers of the fire service agency here in Bond County. But, they are not equipped. Absolutely, they are not.
When you say they are not equipped, is there no fire truck in Bond County? Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, there's no fire truck in Bond County because we've witnessed, fire incidents in Bond County. I can remember a popular boutique bong got a fire. That was early last year, and the guys came there. The people were fighting with their bare hand. In fact, those from the fire service were not even doing any work because absolutely they don't have any material to fight fire in the county. Like fire truck, absolutely they don't have. Bond County doesn't have one.
Okay. So thankfully, from what we've gathered so far, as you said, you'll be going to the police, and I'm sure the fire detachment there will give us preliminary information. But what we've gathered is that there wasn't any fatality, although people on board sustained minor injuries. Does that correspond with your information you're getting as well there in Bond County?
Sure. That's exactly what Chris early this morning was reporting. I mean, but we'll get the full details. I mean, tomorrow we can report that on the show or before this afternoon.
Yeah, we will be updating the page with the latest information once the police there in Bond can speak. And concerning what you've said, that reportedly there is no fire truck in Bond County, we will be speaking to the 602 of the Liberia National Fire Service. Mr. Tisdale, P. Edwin Tisdale, will place an impromptu call to him to see if we can get more information concerning that. There were new fire trucks brought in the country. There was a controversy surrounding fire trucks allegedly taken to a concessionaire to go on a private contract. And why is a whole county reportedly without a fire engine? Any other news there from Bond County you want to update us with before we go to other counties here in Liberia, Congo?
Well, I mean, the most talked about issue in Bong now is the bridge, the Citizen Movement for Change broke ground for, that was October 3, and it has been a controversial issue right now in Bong County. Of recent, I mean, some citizens from the affected communities, I mean, the Jopemo community, the Brooklyn area, also people from Buffalo Hill, Silver Compound, they gathered at the site and called on the Liberian government to grant the Citizen Movement for Change the permission to go ahead with the construction of the bridge. Because according to them, some of them have lived there for more than 20, 30 years, and there have been no intervention from government regarding the construction of that particular bridge. And they told reporters that kids, you know, usually using that route, like school-going children, students attending the government-run Dodo Colombo High School, the Bond County Technical College. Some of them found it difficult to actually cross that area because yearly, like the men will gather and then just build temporary monkey bridge or wooden bridge for students to use and also community members to use. So, I mean, to have seen the Citizen Movement for Change coming in, I mean, placing their full commitment to have the bridge constructed, they say it was something they were so happy about. But when the government, I mean, halted the construction process, asked the CMC for all the necessary documents, and after the submission, the government, I mean, further saying there were funds secured already for the construction of the bridge, and not granting CMC the permission to go ahead with the construction process. It was something they said was so disappointing. And their fear is whether government will actually do this project. Because, I mean, since they've been there, like this year, government has never visited the area to tell them, hey, we'll do this bridge project. But for CMC to take the lead, and then government coming in saying they already have money in the budget, and the Ministry of Finance had disbursed money to Public Works to do that particular bridge. It was something they said was a statement to them.
Okay, Kongwe. Let me just pass the mantle quickly to Yekesi and Sylvester if they've got questions for you. Yekesi, Kongwe on the line.
Yeah. So Konkoi, I mean, since the government announced, you know, that is allocated budget, you know, for that bridge, or since the disapproval of the CMC carrying out that project, I mean, has there been any level of assessment by government officials, you know, to maybe kickstart this project? Because I do know that the people, the residents of that particular surrounding are very, very eager to see that project implemented.
So just this weekend, the citizens spoke, and they said absolutely there have been no assessment from team from the government. But prior to the groundbreaking ceremony, the superintendent said that particular area was already in their plan because they were engaging USAID. But unfortunately, when USAID left, they took that particular plan to the Ministry of Public Works. So they have planned for that particular area to have a bridge constructed. But where maybe they've taken official visit there, inviting the community members, and also inviting the press that we are here to do assessment. Bond County, the resident Indo communities they have been seeing that from the government of Liberia. Even since, they pronounced that they already have money for that particular project.
Okay,
no assistance by government.
Okay. Sylvester, any question for Congo quickly before we leave Bond County?
I think you already addressed it. My concern was the reaction of the resident of that particular community of those benefiting from the bridge project.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Congo. Thank you for updating us, and we hope you can give us more current information concerning that tanker explosion there in Bong this morning. Thank you.
You're welcome, Damo.
Kongwe Bokokoli is our contributor, correspondent there in Bong County. So just before we move to Nimba quickly, guys, whatever the case is, the government is under pressure now,
Of course.
than ever to deliver that bridge. Because you've said no to CMC. It's you and the people now. Because if you do not construct that bridge, it means you acted evil because of political differences, and you didn't want another political party to take the glory for that. So now the government, come what may, they must deliver that bridge.
Yeah, and I'm of the same view that the government is going to ensure that the project is carried out. My only concern is how soon will they execute that project? Because for the CMC, they were fully prepared from the look of things. They were ready, to begin the project, to start the construction right after the government, if the government would have granted them, that approval. They were ready. But now the government has said they got budget allocated for that project. So the CMC, should direct their initiative to another place. Now, how soon? The immediacy here now is the problem. But I do know that, the government will ensure that the project is carried out because they are being pressured. And it's a situation between they and the citizens of that particular vicinity.
Worry, what's your take on that quickly before we go to Nimba?
I don't think the pressure is going to cease until the government construct that bridge. So I don't think the government will have to delay because the CMC are already programmed, meaning they were in readiness to construct the bridge. And now that the government will have to the process, the government will have to speedily construct that particular bridge for the people of country.
So whatever the case is, as we three have said, the government of Liberia will have to provide the bridge for the citizens. And it's not a new, I don't want to call it a model. It's not a new way to put the government now under pressure. The CMC has shown the way that, look, if we can point out developmental projects that needs to be done, and we as a political party, not even a government that benefits from budgetary allotment and budgetary support or taxes collected and all of that, we don't have the coffers of the nation in our hands, and we can attempt to do this. Why not we go for another? We will see the CMC or any other political party now taking up this model and going to places and wanting to implement projects, and we'll see the government responding in similar fashion, or you suspect that there will be some that the government will cave in, because if you start to respond to each and every one, you have to spend money that you don't have.
Of course, the government doesn't have the financial potency, the government doesn't have the financial potency, to provide all of the needed services to, citizens in every part of the country. And so when private institutions, come in, I think the government has got to give them the opportunity, because like they did with the CMC,
okay,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure the government will be able to do the same with that same CMC. Maybe if they should redirect that project or to another political party that should come in to initiate a project, I don't think they will continuously claim that they have allocated a budget to carry out a certain bridge because an opposition political party has initiated that particular project.
Worry, your take quickly.
And I think the government is now in a learning curve and having put themselves under pressure. So I listened to the CMC political leader, and saying with just 4 yellow machines, and validating is everywhere. Now he's bringing in some 26 machines. So I mean, his approach now is engaging every community, and according to him, everywhere he goes to work and the government come in, he will divert to another location. So I think
so it's a game of chase now between the government
and the government wouldn't want to want to be portrayed that way.
They deny
that they deny every opportunity for citizens. Yeah.
All right, just because they want to take the glory. Let's bring on Christopher Pham quickly from Nimba County. Chris, good morning to you. You went to our area early morning, or you stay in Saclay-Pierre?
Good morning, Darren, and good morning to all the folks there. You can see the rest of the folks on the breakfast show this morning. I normally went to our usual spot, before you get up and energized in the morning, you gotta go.
While a sweet finger.
That GB spot you're talking about?
My man, you don't know what spot I'm talking about. That sweet finger, all I wear.
Sweet restaurant.
Sweet, yeah.
Oh, sweet. I know sweet.
I have been there. I don't know sweet. Anyway, what's the latest there emanating from Nimba County? I heard that your superintendent is in Brazil.
Yes, so the superintendent traveled with some delegates from Nimba that are currently in Brazil. They are on the climate COP3, if I get it right.
COP30.
So they are on I think yesterday they did an opening yesterday in Brazil. And the good thing about the superintendent is that whenever she's traveling outside of Liberia on those kind of event, she normally carries people from let's say all sectors in the county. So the superintendent traveled with the FDA regional officer from the national part in which is Kuku. Kuku's traveled with the team, and she also took a female journalist from Radio Nimba that is on the trip. She, I think, other sectors are all part of her trip into Brazil.
Let's leave Brazil a bit and come back to Saninkole, Tapeta, Banganta, Kample, Logatu, and the rest of the cities making up Nimba County. What's the latest there? Heard that the feast for the late Senator Prince Wyatt Johnson has been postponed indefinitely. If so, why?
Yes. So the feast of late Senator Prince Johnson has been postponed to a later date. And all other on Diamond, they have a committee set up for the feast. Well, the committee was headed by former Superintendent Franz Zwagli of Nimba County. But the current senator we have, Senator Samuel Gomekuga, said there have been upstanding issue within the family. He wrote a letter communicating the letter strictly to the vice president, and that before going ahead with fees, there have been little issue within the Prince Johnson family, where the step-children are not, going against their stepmothers and so on. So like that, for them to leave the entire thing as it is without resolving this family issue and going ahead to celebrate the memorial feast of Senator Prince Johnson would not be good. They probably wouldn't take it, correctly. And Odama, as you also know, the PYJ Polytechnic University in Uganda is yet to be open. Nearly we are going like 1 year plus now. The university have been closed since then. And so students are also eager to know whether this school will be open or government going to take care of the facility. And there have been news in Nimba that this particular facility wanted to be sold. And so against that, the vice president came and had and briefed the media on the true voice of Gomba that this facility would not be sold to any other person. And but what is yet to be known is whether this facility is going to be reopened as a PYJ Polytechnic or a governor of Liberia going to be taking care of it. Some of the news that we heard in the corner is that the University of Liberia are going to use that facility as the engineering college on the University of Liberia, but we are yet to get the clear picture of that.
So the feast has been postponed because of family issues.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yagazi?
Yeah. So the fees has been postponed indefinitely. How soon the county leadership is expected to come up with a date? And there are also concerns that resolving those issues, especially the issue that has to do with the family dispute and the PYJ Polytechnic still being closed, those are issues that may take time, a lot of time, before they can be resolved. So does it mean that it's going to take a whole month or two, and I mean the year will soon be ending? So how soon, according to the county leadership, they come up with a specific date?
So when the superintendent phone via WhatsApp from Brazil, this question was posted, and some caller after the show, some caller said it is a very decision for Senator Kuga because the issue of peace is not an emergency, but the issue to resolve it for them to resolve the family dispute is emergency because this could even damage the institution. This could even bring conflict in that will also tear the family apart. So the issue of resolving the issue is an emergency issue, and the stakeholders and the county administration headed by Superintendent and the vice president should promptly to see.
Did they get a specific time frame that are going to address all of those issues?
There was no specific time frame, but I think they are working behind the scene to see how best they can resolve the issue.
Right.
Okay, very quickly to you, and I'll see if we can connect with the Nimba County Superintendent there in Brazil, if she's chanced. Any question for Chris?
No, I think we could move to the superintendent in Brazil, see if she could just break the ice.
Okay, let me see if I can call the superintendent. Chris, thank you. Any other update? All right, so Chris there is off the line. We're wanting to see if we can connect with Superintendent Gono of Nimba County. She's currently in Brazil, and well, we got one check mark.
From where she broke the news.
Yeah, one check mark, meaning she's offline. But we'll see if we can get her during the course of the program. But guys, before we move to the next county, this is very key. We had the issue of, and I wanted to ask Chris the question. Let me get Chris back on the line. If those cows were already bought, because I heard like 40 cows or so, Yakazi.
Yeah. So each of the clowns there would be given couch. So yeah, to celebrate.
All right. Let me ask you if the cows have been bought. If so, what becomes of the 40 cows if they will be put to?
But they'll continue feeding the cow now until.
Yeah. Chris, pardon me calling you back, man. They early bought the cows.
Not yet.
Oh, let me buy in.
Yeah, these are all budgets that were presented to the vice president.
Oh, okay. So no cows were bought. But
the 40 cows still outstanding. The 500,000 of 40 children is still outstanding, and the 20 bag of rice for plus the 20 bag of rice for each children. 40 children is still outstanding.
Oh, so the proposed is 20 bags of rice for each chieftain, one cow to go with the 20 bags of rice, and 500,000 leote. 500,000 leote for each chief.
No, USD
500.
Oh, 500
USD. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I won't put it in leote. So let me take you out a rate of 182. Yeah, because yeah. So just hold on, Chris. This is a serious thing. 182 times 500. That's 91,000.
Yeah.
But if the country pay in leote, they might most likely pay at the rate of 200. Because yeah, so yeah. So that would be 100,000 presumably for each chieftain.
Yeah, so the 100,000 would be for pepper, would be for salt, would be for.
I mean, I didn't know you cooking thank you. All right, so the cows were not bought yet, because that was the question I wanted to ask. They were all budgeted items, and so the money hasn't moved.
But you really think if they were bought, there would have been a controversy surrounding, you know?
No, I wasn't looking at it from a controversial aspect.
Okay.
Because some of the cows would have gone missing, most likely, because it's indefinite.
Okay.
We don't have a time span now. Unless all of the.
I mean, those cows would have been, you know, in the care of individuals, in the care of the local authorities.
Individual laws or something like that. I mean, you have to be feeding the cow every day.
Of course.
You have to be making sure you get a cow good grass, you herd the cow, you take it all around, all that kind of thing. Some of the cow will run away from the rope and run away. Some of the cow are going to run away from the rope, cut the rope and run somewhere. But you don't know how long you are going to keep them for.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
you
problem.
Have just returned them to whoever the herders were that you bought them from. And we do know that those 40 cows might not have been procured if they were already procured from one source.
Yeah.
From one source. So it's good that they haven't bought them. It's a good thing that the family is wanting to resolve their issue. Otherwise, that feast would have turned into a serious area of tension if you have unresolved issues.
I think the senator was very smart because he's also been tied into the conflict among the family members, the Prince Johnson family members. At one point, I remember some family member accusing of signing with the senator wife, something which the children were not too happy of, and they accused him of being involved in the sale of the university to private individual, and so he's also tied in this whole allegation. So I think he plays smart by trying to resolve it before the peace.
Okay. Let's go quickly to Bombing County and see if we can speak to our Bombing County correspondent, Aaron Kume. If we can get him on the line quickly. There seems to be some allegation of 2 million allegedly misappropriated, 2 million Liberian dollars allegedly misappropriated, or some terms surrounding that. We want to go to Bombing County quickly and speak to our correspondent. Remember, at 9 a.m. we'll play host to the Presidential Press Secretary, Anthony Kula Bona Nyen Fofana. She's going to join us on the program at 9 a.m. and we'll discuss everything surrounding the presidency and where are we now as we speak in Liberia. But let's see if we can get Aaron Kume from Bombing County on the line. We're not getting Aaron Kume. Yekazi Sylvester, quickly before we go for our commercial break and bring on the Presidential Press Secretary. What's trending from your end? From my end, the DEA has said that 16 of his officers failed drug tests. But my question is, where were they drawn from? The entire DEA manpower in Liberia, or from a particular zonal area, or from the Montserrado County detachment? Where were they drawn from? Is 16 the actual representation of the entire force, or is just a number from a subset? We've been trying to get in touch with the DEA spokesperson and subsequently to speak to the officer in charge, Fitzgerald Baggio, but we haven't been successful.
So he's Orlando Demi. So Orlando, if you're listening, if you're following the show, you can just call me and we can have you live on the line to give us details.
That number. Where did the 16 come from?
I think that's a good concern because we need to know the specific location, Montserrado, be a neighbor, or what have you. Because if you say 16 from the entire DEA, I think it will raise this eyebrow because of the too many allegations and just the report of came in from different angles, which the DEA took into consideration to make sure their men are tested, just as the president took the lead in the fight against drugs when he as vice president went to do the drug test. So that will, restore some additional confidence in the DEA, because if they are drugs free, I mean, the further things shows, I think that's going to push it as well.
All right. So still from my end quickly before I bring you guys on, Edwin Claremonting, the head of AREP, the Asset Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, has said that oversight that AREP, wasn't captured, presumably in the budget, that oversight. But the finance minister, Augustine Kwehi Gafwan, has said AREP will be given 2.3 million. But the question now is, from which part of the budget? Where in the budget? Because if you look at AREP, as well as the War Crimes Court, the Office of the War Crimes and War and Economic Crimes Court, they both have zero projection, or projection, because the budget is just a projection. They have zero projection in terms of what will be allotted them. But now the finance minister is saying that no, AREP, don't worry, even though 000 is there, but we have some 2.3 million that will be given to you.
So then the question is, why couldn't the 2.2 million be injected? 2.3 million. Why was it injected into the budget?
We'll have a budget conversation next week. We're working to bring in the budget experts. We want the people to hear from the experts themselves. So we'll bring in a full panel of imposition, opposition, and experts who are not aligned with no position, so we can have a good conversation. But there is a lot coming out of the budget in terms of analysis and the rest. The Minister of Finance spoke to the budget on yesterday. He had an elaborate press conference. He said a lot of things. He said there wasn't a shortfall, there will be no shortfall, and a whole lot of things. I'm not a budget expert, so I want us to bring on the experts and let's talk about this. There are those who are supporters of the government that have said, look, this budget is President Boakai's budget. This is his vision for Liberia. This is the first Boakai budget that we've seen, that it has peaked from 800 million thereabout to 1 billion, 1.2 billion thereabout. 200 million, remember, comes from ArcelorMittal. So, if not for Mittal, which is indeed a revenue for Liberia, we wouldn't be hitting that mark. But others have said, if the government can negotiate and have a 200 million signing bonus and all of these things, why haven't we negotiated from stronger positions before? This is the first of its kind in the whole of Africa. In the whole of Africa, that a company will sign whether an amendment or the first of its agreement with a sign-on bonus of 200 million. There are others who are still kind of skeptical. Why 200 million? Is it some of our funds that we're supposed to collect in the future that is being put together and everything looks like a bonus, and later we'll be told that, oh, this is money that Liberia should have benefited some years later that was given first to do some things? But these are questions that we want the government to answer. The deal, we've been informed, has been taken back for renegotiation. The reason, reportedly, the real, that the monopoly is not what the government wants. Remember, President Boakai signed the multi-user rail executive order. So a whole lot of things that we will want our people to be informed from a first-hand perspective, guys. Those are just two of the training issues that I have from my end, and I'll pass it over to you.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, the sign-on budget, the sign-on bonus 200 million, which increased the budget to 1.2 billion. I mean, this sign-on will not be every year.
No, it's a one-off.
Okay, one-off. I mean, then what happened to the budget next year? Say that we have 1.2 billion this year, and next year, once that 2 million is not coming in, 200 million is coming in, what becomes of the budget?
So again, I can only answer that question from what I know, and that's why I want the experts to come on and tell us. Remember, ArcelorMittal built a concentrator in Nimba County. But bulk of our revenue comes from the extractive industry. We dependent on the extractive industry in Liberia to a larger extent. The gold, the diamond, the iron ore, and whatever natural minerals that are being excavated from our soils, right? So to answer your question, ArcelorMittal has built the concentrator. From an inside source, ArcelorMittal has now moved more than 5 million metric tons of iron ore from Liberia since they started operating. That information is to be challenged. That's why I said from an inside source. But you can go to Leti, you can go to LRA, you can go to all of the government institutions responsible for that data, and you can find that information that they've not removed from Liberia more than 5 million metric tons in a year. And I asked this source, I said, why? They said, because the ore quantity of what they're getting is not as compared to the ore quantity that LAMCO used to get. So if they move a very large volume, they will sell it for a lower price because it's not the DSO, it's not as high as what LAMCO used to get. So that is the reason, according to that source, they've not been able to make a profit. So with the concentrator now, they will add the value of the ore up because now you're melting and you're taking away the unwanted materials and all of those things. You fine-tuning it, then the quality is going to go up, meaning the price is going to go up. So with that, government is going to earn more revenue from the ore that is being extracted than what they're getting now. So that's just that. So to answer your question, if that is done, more revenue for Marcelo, which is one of the biggest tax contributors to our country, means more budgetary, allotment.
So there's a smart way of creating artificial shortage on the market, I think.
Which shortage now?
Because I mean, exporting in large quantity the raw material in its original form would be a very cheap one.
Yeah. So we have the PPS.
Yeah. So we try to add value.
So value addition means more money, warrior.
More money.
So if ArcelorMittal was taking away DSO, let's just say DSO 1 to DSO 5, whatever the classification is, on processed ore, and the government was getting give or take 5 million. I'm just giving on top of the head figure 5 million, right? Now, if it's processed in Liberia and it goes to quality of, I'm assuming again, DSO 10, and it's being sold between 400 to 600 United States dollars, that is more money. And more money, more revenue for the government. So you asked about how is it going to affect the budget if the government generates more revenue from Marcelo and other extractive people in the country, then the government gets more money.
So that's another way of getting back the 200 million that was collected from the sound of it.
No, that's another way of saying the budget will have support. Because you were concerned about if there is no 200 million, where will extra income come from? And that was your question, right?
That was my question.
So meaning, what we should be looking at in Liberia more is value addition and stop relying on the extractive industry too much. We got rubber, but where is the rubber processing plant that we have in the country to manufacture tires and the rest? Raw material doesn't cost more than finished product. You agree?
I do agree because I mean, I know we got other value to the commodity, so definitely it won't cost the same.
And when you have value addition, what do you have again? You have more jobs.
More jobs, more money.
More money.
And so once you got money in the pockets of the individuals,
people can spend.
Yeah.
So if you worry making $700 a month and value addition comes and you're making 1,000,
now we will go to the market.
You'll spend more money.
Yeah.
All right, folks, we have the PPS in studio. We'll take a short break, set up, and we have this conversation. This is the Today Show on Spoon 107.5 FM. We're live on Fabric 101.1 FM and a host of other stations relaying us all across Liberia. We take a short commercial break, and when we get back, Anthony Nkula B.N. Fofana is our guest on the program. So do your best to share the program so that you get first-hand information. That's the reason she's here this morning, taking up her time to provide us information that we can definitely use. We'll take this short break and we'll be right back.
Attention, all sports lovers and casino players. Winners Incorporated, the giant and #1 in gaming, where the fun never ends, has done it again.
Yes, sir. With jackpots bigger and prices high, at Winners Incorporated, we reach the sky.
We got more shots, more games, more ways to play. From slots to sports, come win today.
Casino thrills, aviator fly, high flyers, and so much more. At Winners Incorporated, your chances will soar.
Who's the best?
Winners.
Who's the biggest?
Winners.
Who gives you the fastest payout?
Winners Incorporated. That's for sure.
Now bigger and better than before. Winners Incorporated brings you chances galore. Visit our shops near you or play online at winners.com.lr to be the next millionaire.
Winners Incorporated. Always #1.
From 18 years and above. Easy, new look, simple taste. Feel the power of the African spirit with every bottle. Wrapping all across the land. That bottle, easy grip, made fresh daily. Pure, bold, and unstoppable. Twist it, sip it, and vibe the African way. Easy in your hand, easy on the go. From the streets to the beaches to your backyard grow. Easy got the vibe that sets the mood. Easy got the flavor that hits different. Smooth, bold, with a modern twist. Perfect for the rainy season to keep the blood flowing and warm. Refreshing for the dry season for that ice of freshness. Pop the top and let the good times roll. New look, same flavor you already know. Easy for the cool in you. Easy, bold taste, African spirit, available now. Drink responsibly for 18 years and above. Visit your local wholesaler or retailer and buy now.
We are brave. We are passionate.
Hey, Tanu, I need cash and there is no ATM around here.
Really? Did you try the EcoBank POS?
POS? I said I need cash. What is it about POS?
Judy, you can get your cash through the POS. All you need to do is to visit any EcoBank Express point or petrol trade gas station and request to use the POS. Guess what? It can also take other bank cards.
Oh, widow. You mean cards from banks overseas too?
Yes, it should just be your Visa card.
Wow, great. So when there is no ATM around me, I'll just use the POS to get my money fast. EcoBank has made it too easy, man. EcoBank and innovation that will thrive in 6 so.
EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Yes, guys.
All right, folks, welcome back from that commercial break. This is the Today Show on Spoon 107.5 FM. We're live on Fabric 101.1 and a host of other stations all across Liberia. As promised, yes, and promised, fulfilled, the Presidential Press Secretary, Anthony Kula B. N. Fofana, is our guest right about this moment. We'd love to say welcome to you and good morning to you, ma'am.
Good morning, Diamond, and good morning, Yekizi. I'm happy to be back in your studios, and I'm happy to always be available to, answer questions and provide information as it relates to the workings and activities of His Excellency, the President, and the work that he's doing for Liberia. So I'm happy to always be here, and thanks for the invitation.
Thank you as well for honoring the invitation. It was short notice, but you did make it your duty to be here. Yegazi and Sylvester, I'll give you guys the honors of asking the PPS your very first question, and then we can move forward with what we have.
Okay. Again, welcome, the Presidential Press Secretary. This is my very first interaction.
So you start struck now
with you. Yeah. So first, just tell us, give us an update from the executive mansion, from the presidency.
Well, thank you. The presidency is an institution that works for the entire country. And particularly the way our governing system works is that you have three branches of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. And the president heads the executive. And for the president, since his elections and inauguration, he's really been very, very busy. So what I normally do in Diamond and Spoon Network is aware the regular Fridays press briefing that we provide at the time. Sylvester Choloplay and Jurassic, they were both assigned at the executive mansion. They covered the president at some point. Diamond was from the beginning, you know, and now we continuously do the updates. So what I will do this morning is to really say of recent the activities of His Excellency. I'm sure the country is aware that the president was out of the country. He had gone to France on a state visit and an official working visit in the United Arab Emirates. And he also been back. He's been engaging. He's had several engagements with his different teams because everyone, especially the presidential appointees and those who heading ministries and agencies who are appointed by the president, report to him on a daily as to what they're doing, you know, what's going on, even to see what is the current security status of our country. So the security, and I know you also have heard of these biggest news in town now of the presentation of the budget. That the president did present the budget to the national legislature through the Minister of Finance, Development Planning, Honorable Augustine Kpehe-Kafouan. And the team there worked assiduously to really present this year's budget because, you know, the timeline that is required by law. And since we transitioned from the annual fiscal year from January to December, it's been really working. So by the end of 2025, it is by law that the president is supposed to submit the budget to the legislature, and that's what's happening, and it has happened. And the conversation it has gone on is really very important and they're intriguing, and that's something that the president is happy about, especially so that the country is interested in what the president is doing. And his visit to France and UAE also were important components because France and Liberia have established a relationship for several years. And going to France to really look at that relationship and see where the country is and how we can recalibrate that relationship, and that the president can push, his development agenda, and how France can really look at what they can do. They've agreed to, supporting different aspects. He also met with key business leaders, like the conglomeration of business organizations in France, but also in the European diaspora, to be able to see how they can, support Liberia's economy, particularly in the private sector development. Because one of the other things that you will hear a lot of Liberians talk about is the issue of jobs opportunity. And for our president, he believes that to ensure that Liberians are employed, the government by itself or alone cannot employ everyone. So the private sector is the way about it. So once you have a vibrant private sector, you have the development and the improvement of job opportunities, you'll have Liberians, getting employed and whatnot. And then in the UAE, this conversation around jobs were also had. Now there are conversation around youth employment and seeing how the UAE, in fact, importantly, the UAE have also expressed their vision to support Africa with 5 million job opportunity. So this visit also marked an important time for our government and the president, where he was able to, have that conversation with the leader of UAE to see what Liberia can benefit, out of that projection that they've made or things that they want to support Africa. So the president did hold that conversation, and they've been back and forth with his team. They're looking forward to having a return visit. Even the president did invite the president of France, and both teams are discussing and see the modalities in planning that. So he's been quite busy with the regular, of course, appointment and review of different things that he has to do. But yeah, I will give it as that as a summary of the president's activities of recent.
Thank you. Worry? Any follow-up before coming with my question?
the president came back from UAE and out of France, and people being concerned, what did he bring back to the level of people after using taxpayer money to do the travel? And you just outlined a series of benefits that we come to the country. But we also follow you when you said, I mean, the president, if you say it's not about bringing back up money back to the country, I mean, you've been criticized about that because you criticized previous administration every time a travel was made by the president. So when did you realize that president travel is not about bringing money back to the country?
You know, I try my best not to get involved into the propaganda of communication. And my role at the office of the presidency is to communicate the activities of the president. And I've tried my best to do just that. And, you know, when, you know, and we've been in the media business for quite a long time. As someone who studied mass communications and particularly broadcast communications, and I've followed, you know, worked my way up through the ladder, so to speak, you'll understand the spinning of things, you know. So when I had the press briefing on Friday, I was very clear about communicating what the president have done over the years in all of his travels, particularly mentioning what he got from France, from the UAE, from China, from Italy, from the US, you know, when he visited the United States. That's why we have the visa extension. So as always, I did speak about those, and then I was very clear about how people have communicated president's travel to me, to think that what did you bring back? In our mind, you know, when you're thinking about what did you bring back, it's not about bringing this amount to say this is, and I was clear, and that my comment was basically a side comment to say, when president travels, they're not traveling because they're going to grab money and bring it and distribute. And I was very clear. And when you comparing it to stands of political actors of what people have said in the past, if you follow my track record, you wouldn't say Kula said this before against former President Weah or former administration, so to speak. You will not see any specific. If I'm criticizing, and at times when I criticize the former government or the former administration, I criticize specifically on specific issue. I am a student of development studies, for example. I also understand public diplomacy, you know, and when you engage in countries. So if you're traveling as a leader, you're traveling to, you know, engage diplomatically. And to communicate that, it's important that that frame of mind, our people understand that, so that they're not expecting. So, for example, all of the engagement and conversation the president have had, even this conversation of ArcelorMittal contributing, or the bonus of 200 million that is going to be, you know, that is part of our budget, our $1.2 billion budget. The meeting, a key meeting, was concluded in France during that visit. So should we say President Boakai brought back to, you know, the sign-on bonus for ArcelorMittal? Money sending, physical money send is when government discuss and say we're going to do this, build this bridge, help you with this infrastructure project. These are millions of dollars that they agree to support you on. And the president is bringing those back in a sense, but it's not something to have in our mind. Even quote unquote, a lot of time people have said, oh, when former President Weah went to France, he brought $10 million. It's untrue. Even in France, some of the conversation that was had with the president of France, this whole 10 million, yes, France agreed to support Liberia with 10 million, but President Weah at the time didn't bring 10 million physically in cash.
But
it was discussed.
That is the context of the discussion,
right? So let me just conclude. Just conclude my train of thought. He didn't come. So those conversations will support these projects and in this tone. And what they have not told you is that even that the government did not do what was necessary to be able to have the support of all the $10 million. So this conversation came out as well during this gone visit, that Right now, the government is working hard to be able to up this so that the remaining resources that France as a country had promised Liberia.
How much was cutting by
Well,
the government?
from what we were made to understand, that there's still been left of half of the amount that was
approximately
supported.
5 million
Exactly,
was what-
approximately,
yeah.
approximately. So the team at the Ministry of Finance will tell you, for example, I mean, maybe you have right to the freedom of information. You can follow up with the team. They even talk to Minister of Finance, Development Planning. It would tell you, there were things that needed to happen. They were supposed to do some work. They were supposed to provide information or say these are the areas in which you want, the country to benefit from. Because when a government say, I'm going to support you in this amount, it's not just a physical cash they're going to give you. In most instances, they're going to tell you, going to help you with these projects that for example, I mean, some of the things that they were supposed to do, community pitches, they were supposed to do drainage project in communities, in Fiamma. There were lots of projects that were earmarked. But most of the time, Diamond, is the follow-up mechanism that our people don't do.
So, Anthony Fofana, you're a lawyer. I just want you, and you're a mass communication expert. I just want you to lay this plain and simple. Did we get 10 million from France?
There was a commitment from France to give Liberia during the administration of President Weah to get the 10 million. From our understanding, when the team visited and those meetings were held, all of the money were not accessed.
And why were those reasons why the entire?
Well, I mean, I wasn't in. So from the conversation is that Liberia still needs to, because it was a promise by the government of France at the time, and the government of Liberia needed to make strategic follow-up to ensure that what is promised to a country, that you follow up and be able to receive all the money. And sometimes, when you in these things, sometimes a country will promise you this amount, but in actual sense, to be able to get those monies, sometimes countries will have their own internal problems. There will be some challenges, austerity measures, or other things, challenges, crisis, internal crisis, conflict between the branches of government and whatnot. So some things slow down. So as a country, you need to follow up on those.
Okay.
So from our understanding, that the country did not receive all of what was promised.
Okay.
So it wasn't that, and this is the information that should be out. It wasn't that when former President Weah visited France, he brought back 10 million in cash and had it and said, let's go to do that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I mean, again, we in public communication, we have to be able to communicate and educate our public and educate the people that these are ways in which these things happened. And I mean, not to take away from why we're here, the successes of the president and what he's doing.
That's why I was headed to.
Right. It's just to inform the Liberian people that the visit of our president to France and the UAE, right now as I speak, is yielding a lot of fruits, like I mentioned.
So is it successful? Do you classify those two visits to the two different countries as successful?
I will classify it as very, very, very successful.
Even though you didn't come back with money in bags?
But we came back with commitment. We came back with some things that will yield fruition, job opportunities in the works, and these conversations around France coming to support. And I mean, trust me, Diamond, there are lots of things that was successful.
Yeah, guys, let me come in with my question. PPS, you have a new Minister of State for Presidential Affairs. He's there now. My first question is, how is the new minister settling in? And I also want to know, these trips that the president take, they cost taxpayers dollars. People are concerned about the amount of money that is being used on travel. We've had this notion that when we go out, whether it's through bilateral or multilateral agreements, the country must benefit something. You have not been so specific as to what the returns will be. You said they will be in youth employment, they will be in other employment opportunities, and all of that, as compared to how you usually do it when there are tangibles to report. You outline these things. So how expensive are these trips? And if so, can you give us I know it's going to be difficult, but a round figure what an average presidential trip might cost?
Well, I wouldn't be able to give you an average presidential trip will cost, because I don't specifically work in administration or the number side of the ministry. where procurement and all of that. But what I can say, the trips are held differently. Sometimes friendly government invites your government and they commit to taking care of the transportation of the head of delegation and some members of the delegation. Sometimes they'll say we'll take care of 5. So when they say they will take care of 5, that includes lodging, hotel, transportation, and just the time, of the meeting that they're going to attend. And then the other members of the delegation, normally the government takes care of those. So trips, again, are different, and they come in different forms. For example, I'll give you a practical example. So there was a recent trip that the president was invited to go to Togo. And he was invited by the president of Togo, Faye Gasingbe. And that visit was primarily sponsored by the Togolese president from transportation, meaning, the aircraft, taking the delegation back and forth, supporting the president and some of his delegation as well. So it's been like that. So every presidential trip and visit, they're different. Some when the country invites you or some institution invites you, they take care of, some component of your visit.
To the Minister of State?
I believe the minister, I've had the opportunity to work with the minister pretty close to 2 years now, because even when he was still in the ministry as Minister of State without portfolio special services, and we've had good time. We've engaged. He's someone who I believe will settle in because he's a seasoned administrator. So government is not a strange terrain. In fact, he worked with the vice president at the time the president was vice president for a long time. He was chief of staff of the vice president at the time, so he understands the political environment and the political terrain, and he's certainly in, and especially so that it's a familiar terrain. He knows the areas, and one thing he's done so far, he's been able to engage and go around, cut across people, like meet different departments and have conversations with staff, and pretty much settling. So he recently got confirmed. So but the thing with the Ministry of State, it's a very busy place, Diamond. So I can tell you, he had a lot of dark hair, before coming. I'm sure by the time he's leaving, if all his hair doesn't turn gray, it will be close to that. But I think he's cut for it. He will do his best, and this is someone who the president believes in his judgment as well. That's why he was selected and appointed, and he's a good team player. But the thing with Liberia, the forces, if you're not strong and you're not firm on certain things, you get quickly to get away. But he's someone who I believe he's tough. He will get to deal with it, especially so dealing with all branches, because when you're the Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, you are the COS of the president. So everyone will have to engage you. So whether it's members of the legislature, the judiciary, so you're that sponge where you have to, filter things before they get to the president.
It's going to 2 years, Anthony Fofana. And my colleagues will then come in. What would you say are the biggest accomplishments of the Baka Kone administration thus far? And what are those challenges that you can point to as well that the administration is navigating as well? I want you to speak to accomplishments, the ones you can point to, lay your hands on, and then challenges, the major ones.
Well, I think I will look at it from the context of the arrest agenda, because, any serious government will come to the presidency with an agenda and a plan to develop the country. And when the president came into office, prior to the conclusion of the arrest agenda, we had the arrest agenda, like a general idea and a broad idea on what he, wanted to do as a president. So almost 2 years in, I will say he's exceeded expectation, in my opinion. And it's open for debate, of course. I mean, because these conversations are important to be had. But the Liberian people themselves will tell you in comparison to other administration, because one thing I don't like to do personally, I don't like to be in habit of comparing this administration with past administration with others, because this administration goal is not to measure that we've done better than the past. The goal is to compete with people who've done extremely well, other countries who've done extremely well.
The past they didn't do extremely well.
I'm saying any attempt, because of course they didn't do extremely well. That's why the Liberian people voted them out. That's not a
So
debate.
if you want to compare your own good grades, are you not going to look at the person who failed and see what you have accomplished?
No, because that's not what
So
we're
they don't
looking
matter
at.
to you.
Of course not. When you in 12th grade, or when you in 11th grade, you're not thinking of 9th graders
So that we
or
can have
7th grader or I mean that's your interpretation.
No, I just want to know because
I'm just saying life. Listen, life is going forward. The car we all drive, there's a view mirror and there's side view mirrors, and there's a big dashboard and a big front view where it is clear, transparent.
No.
I'm talking about a glass through now, the front view.
Okay.
The see-through where when you're in the traffic, you'll be able to see clearly. The reason why they make that place big is a big glass in the wiper. When you're raining, they won't clear your view. It's because the goal of life is to go forward. The small mirrors are there to make those one tiny, just for you to pick through and see, okay, there's a mistake coming. Let me dodge it. There's a mistake here. They didn't make it big so you to be looking what's behind you. You've gone. We've passed that. Liberia wants to move forward. Because if we compare ourselves, Diamond, you and I are relatively young people. And the Liberia we were given when we were born in chaos. The war I have experienced with refugee life, displacement, I mean, it was chaotic. We didn't have a perfect childhood growing up like our colleagues in other countries. So our example should not be about the past. You see, you riding on a road, you go to other countries, you see people talking 3 lanes, 6 lanes, and, skyscrapers. We can't be complacent and be comparing today with yesterday. So the goal of this administration is to look forward, is to think of a future where our competitors will not be the people behind us, but the people who are going forward. When we talk about national exams, so our students can be over there. When we talk about international education, we're talking Liberians doing excellent. We're talking high class. We're not looking behind. We're not there yet. That's why under 2 years, what this government is doing with a budget of $1 billion. $1 billion. In fact, when other countries tell you about their budget, you'll be scratching your head.
Yeah, we'll get to the budget, Anthony Fofana.
So I'm just saying we cannot look at the future at the same time comparing. So this government interest, because the past government did poorly, that's why the Liberian people voted them out. And this government is doing well. That's why the Liberian people entrusted this government with this, process. And going forward, the Liberian people want this government to do better. That's why every day, even every little thing that the government does, whether it's wrong or right, there will be critics, because the Liberian people believe that you can do better. So even this small thing, this little accomplishment, Liberian people are not super excited because they know they want better, and that's where this government is leading. So in terms of the major achievement, I think, like I was mentioning, the arrest agenda for inclusive development on the aspect of agriculture. Right now, if you connect with the Ministry of Agriculture, you'll see they are bringing in more farmers. And the goal, we've launched one of the biggest and ambitious agricultural plan for Liberia, Feed Yourself. We are a country of vast natural resources, land to our disposal. We have to be able to grow what we eat and eat what we grow. And that is where we're going. Investments have been made in that area. Lots of farmers have been giving resources to contribute to the food security sector. When it comes to the road, we are not there yet, but we are doing better. And one thing is happening under this administration, even with the challenges, where the major challenges of the road, the Ministry of Public Works and her team are working, even during the course of the rain. And now that the dry season is coming, they have launched the Operation Octopus, something that has started.
Operation what?
Octopus.
Operation Octopus in Liberia doesn't say well.
Well,
why
again,
decided to name the operation?
no, because it was
Octopus?
in October. Octopus. You know what an octopus is?
Yeah, with many
Tentacles.
and all
You
that.
do different
But you
things.
know the historical
Right.
context of Octopus in
No,
Liberia.
no,
Why
no,
didn't you give it?
words. The thing with words is you who decide how to call it. You know, you can use one word and call it two different things. You know, so you can even use the negative connotation and bring a positive connotation
want
to
change
it,
the
so that the
octopus connotation
narrative,
can change.
when you hear octopus, you say octopus road. You mean octopus, you know, invasion in a sense where it's invading the old spot, breaking down houses that are in the pathway, whether they are no diamond and not diamond, beautiful structure here. Once it's in the passageway, they clear out because the development of the country
So this
is important.
octopus is not the octopus of destruction. That we saw,
Exactly,
but
it's the
rather
octopus of construction and ensuring that road works goes across the country, because with road alone, you connect to many aspects of development. So you have the context of the rule of law. Rule of law, a lot of things have happened. One, especially on the mark of our history, where we've come from, the challenges of the war. Instead of us just saying, "Oh yeah, Liberia, we fought war, so let's go back and forget it," to do. We holding people accountable. That is why, for the first time in the history of our country, after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission process and report, President Boakai set up an office for War and Economic Crime Court. And part of that TRC report was to talk about reconciliation and see what he's done under the context of the rule of law, especially to ensure that our history, people come to terms with the history of the past. He's reburied former presidents on reconciliation. He's reburied our former presidents who were not giving the level of importance that the state should have given them. He's even in this, those of us who are students of transitional justice, the issue of public apology is major. To take account of what has happened and tell the Liberian people, yes, the country hurt her sons and daughters, but we are sorry. That's a major step in that. Some people who were victims of the war, they just needed that closure. And he's doing that gradually. And he's promised he's going to ensure that there's the aspect of the memorialization. We started efforts of memorialization. I know you have the Depot Road Memorial. There are counties that were badly affected, even in my own county, Grand Cape Mount County, the Meha massacre, lots of massacre happened. Families were killed, the Lutheran Church massacre. So the memorialization project, he's looking forward to doing that and doing that deliberately and strategically on the mark of reconciliation. On the mark of education, of course, there have been investment in our education sector. The schools, the construction of modern schools with our partners, the World Bank and other institutions, ensuring that our classrooms are smart classrooms with consistent electricity, with improvement in enrollment, with girls' education, and even at the tertiary level, ensuring that our public institutions have what it takes. That's why even if you see this budget, as you said, will come to, there have been investment in the increment of the budget on that aspect. We may not be there yet, but we're on the pathway of getting there.
What are those challenges? Just if you can just list the challenges, and then Yekezi and Sylvester can come in. Those challenges that you still need to navigate, even though you've said positives from your perspective. But what are those major challenges?
I think in all aspects, there will definitely be challenges in every given area. But I think one of the major area, and that's something that the government is working on, is the aspect of job creation for our young people. And, again, the way our system is structured, a lot of attention is on public sector and public service. So a lot of our people are interested in, serving in government, working for the presidency and whatnot, or being appointed. And we have limited, private sector. So all of the other investments, or most of the investments that the president is looking forward to, is to bring on private sector on board so that we can employ more young people. Because, Diamond, if you have opportunities to, employ people, that's why other economies, when you go to the West and other places, you don't have to have higher education. In fact, right now, it's put out a call for application. You have for 2 people, you have a lot of people
For which
applying.
we're about to do.
Exactly. So even we just, as you may know, we recently launched the internship program.
That was a good one. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we recently launched the internship program, and that internship program, we trying to get at least the first 10 batch. Diamond, we got almost 200 applications. So it tells us that there are more young people who want to get employed, lots of young people who are out of high school, who are not in college. Some are in college, they don't have job. So the job creation is something that from the Ministry of Youth and Sports, even short-term, medium-term, and long-term jobs, that's where the focus is going to be on. And it's a challenge, of course. But also in connection as well, we've done a lot of great job with the anti-corruption fight. You see several audits. You see president deliberate actions of suspending public officials, or even in some instances dismissing public officials and forwarding them to LACC. So just it's the slow pace of the conclusion of the investigation, especially from the arm of the LACC in those cases. So it's important. I mean, you also recently heard of the work of the Assets Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force. Those, anti-graft activities is something that, in terms of conclusion of those, reports and finding is where it's a little slow. We hope that the teams over there will do really well. But with the presidency, he's really tried to take specific and direct actions on public officials.
Thank you. Yakazi, Sylvester?
Yeah, so just a follow up on the challenges according to you the government is faced with. You say job creation is one of the challenges that the government is faced with. But I mean, prior to the government being elected, what was the government's roadmap when it comes to creating jobs, and is this roadmap being followed?
Well, of course. So there wasn't one roadmap to say this is a specific plan for job creation. Like I mentioned, there was a full agenda in all aspects. So on the economy, on the health, on sanitation, on tourism, and those sectors, and what will happen across those chains, there are opportunities for jobs creation in those areas. So part of that education also carried that, youth employment carried that, the TVET component carries that. So there have been a number of different areas streamlining job opportunities in this different area, whether it's agriculture, whether it's education, whether it's public works and the road works efforts. So in those lines, there are opportunities for job creation in this area, but on the accelerated level, of course, there have been job opportunities, of course, for young people. People have had opportunities, because I do know the Ministry of Youth and Sports also have done some work in hiring on a short-term basis, over 1,000. I'm sure you could recall there was a job out with the PPCC and others. But again, there needs to do more. There are lots of young people who need permanent employment, permanent job opportunities, and they also need short-term, where there's a need for short-term job opportunities, and also medium-term and long-term job opportunities. But the other side of the job conversation is that the preparedness of young people. A lot of young people need to be able to be qualified, because what's happening is there are times when you put out a call for application, you're looking for a certain level career qualification. But people may not necessarily have that, but they want the job. Sometimes it's higher, and then they have lower, but they believe that they're competent in those areas. So it's a both way. So the young people who are in the different spaces, who it's important that you do your best and get the necessary qualification required, so that when these opportunities avail themselves, you are in the first batch of people who can be to be able to have access to those job opportunities.
Worry, anything from you before we go to the budget? We have to talk about the budget.
You are not, Press Secretary, you are one of the few in government who sees the president on a daily basis. From the look of things, is the president aware of or hearing the voices of Liberians, maybe via radio or reading the newspapers? What is he saying to the many complaints? For instance, what's coming from the opposition, what's coming from the market women's students?
Can you give some of those specifics?
Okay,
complaint.
That the arrest, that's not the arrest. Can we say the arrest agenda? Or rescue? isn't rescuing Liberian, but rather rescuing yourself. You government officials are living better life. I mean, the poor continue to get poorer. I mean, people complain of not having their kids in school. I mean, is the president hearing the complaints? Market women go to the markets and no buyers.
Well, I mean, to be honest, when you in a political space, there will definitely be divergence of views. There will be people who will, no matter what you do, who will not agree with your policies. And especially when you have a country where, I mean, most politically exposed people already have sides. So whether it is quote unquote marketeers and others, people who didn't vote for you, and who have very strong opinions against you, no matter what you do, they will definitely have opinions. So I'm saying this to mean that when you have a society where we had a near 50-50 vote, right? So the majority who voted for you, there is quite a significant minority in court that did not vote for you and they do not agree with your policies. So in an open conversations, you'll still have those people who will naturally disagree with what you're doing, and they will say things. So if it's just general to say rescue is rescuing themselves and stuff, but let's go to what the government is doing. Now, normally when you hear people talk about the country, Liberians and our issue with food security, rice, for example, when you talk about the bread and butter issues, people say, oh, rice price. Today, we do not have issues of shortages of rice on the market, and the affordability. People are buying rice at a lower cost, and it's been consistent, and there are plans to even go further for further reduction. Also, let's look at the fuel, gasoline. Yesterday, I personally bought a gas for $700 Liberian dollars. 700 for Liberian dollars from a gas station, from a petrol station.
Show me that station. So
I bought it $700 from the gas station. And people, and the consistency, also the reduction of the fuel prices. Sometimes when people say the bread and butter issues, those are the things that they look at. Also, on the issue of transportation, public transportation, there have been inroads with the bringing in of additional buses to augment what the NTA is currently, working with, and improving those to be able to commute between your marketplaces, your work, and all of that. Those are things you will visibly see. And electricity. I live in a community that's very far removed from the main line, from the main road. And electricity on the main road, something that wasn't there in a long time. I was coming to work. I saw the planting poles along the roads in other communities that are far to reach. So there are inroads in those areas, electricity, access to water. So when you talk about the successes, if quote unquote, except you want to tell us that, I mean, the only people who enjoy the electricity, who enjoy the gas, because when I go to the gas station to buy gas, they don't ask me for my rescue ID card, or I mean, I go places that nobody even know who I am. So before people think, oh, because no, everybody, there's a standard price that you pay. Transportation, when I was in the keke the other day, the keke man, I asked him how much from here to the location. He showed me, and I pay. Because it's something that for everyone. So if a transportation price is reduced, it's not for just rescue, quote unquote, rescue officials. And talking about only rescue officials are enjoying, I mean, again, that's a general statement. People will say those things. But if you look at the things, the different, things, I can tell anybody talking about rescue officials enjoying. When I was assistant minister during Madame Sirleaf's regime, I made more money than I'm making today as at the level of a deputy minister, because presidential press secretary at the level of a deputy minister. So as a deputy minister, I'm making less than what I made as assistant minister.
Madam Fofana.
And when it comes to, let's just conclude this point. Yeah. And when it comes to all of the different things, whether rescue officials are enjoying more, I mean, that's individual conversation but if you look at the collective, for the first time, people are able to leave from here to go to Grand Jide in a day. If you want to, you can come back before the day and before the quote unquote 24-hour ends if you want to. It has happened. People go to Lofa and come back. So the progress is not just small, it's not just like wild, but you can see it just under 2 years. So imagine we are at this point under 2 years. What will happen by the time we're getting to the conclusion of the 6 years? I'm sure Liberia, even if it will not be the best, but it will be at least better, far better than what it was yesterday and where we met it today and where we are taking it.
So thank you. Let's go to the budget quickly. I want to start off by asking you. I want a yes or no answer from you. I know you're a lawyer, but I just want this.
I hate when people do that, though.
I wanted to be
Because you're a lawyer.
I wanted to be a close-ended question. Is this budget a President Boakai budget?
Well, if you say it's a President Boakai budget, what do you mean?
Project what he wants. We had the 2024. Much of the talk was, it was something that we met and we just working on it because of the time. We had the 2025 again. There was that again. Now this 2026 proposed budget. Does this budget represent President Boakai's ambition for Liberia?
Absolutely. President Boakai submitted the budget to the legislature through the Minister of Finance, and this is the budget of the administration in support of the arrest agenda. In fact, this is the other conversation I want to also have, Diamond. When the government presented the arrest agenda for inclusive development, along with the counter development agendas, when that event took place, the cost of the entire plan was how much?
You tell me, man.
It was costing at 3 billion plus and change. And everybody, where will Liberia take this money from? And now in the implementation of the budget and saying this is the $1.2 billion to support the arrest agenda that required that. It tells you that the thinkers, inclusive of the president, they're thinking strategically in supporting their development agenda through the financial instrument that will support the achievement of the agenda.
There are those who, and the reason I asked that question is we've been looking through the budget. And again, I do not want to delve too much in budget conversation because I'm not abreast of budget information as an expert would be. But there are analysis on the various platform news outlets and the rest that there have been key omissions, whether oversight, as the chairperson of Arab Council on Mountain said. I didn't see anything for asset recovery. I didn't see anything for the Office of the War and Economics Crimes Court. Though the finance minister on yesterday said asset recovery is going to get 2.3 million, but it's not under their budget line. We don't see that as well. That's why I asked if this budget reflects President Boakai's ambition. These two were executive orders instruments. Any reason, anything concerning that?
Again, I mean, like you mentioned, the Minister of Finance and Development Planning did say exactly what the plans are for those institutions. And you know what happens during budget discussions and conversations? There are some line items may not be there in black and white. And during the implementation phases of the budget, they will tell you that these institutions receive these, fundings and stuff. Again, those are the experts who crafted the instrument, and they understand, like in financial terms, where those resources were budgeted or how those institutions will get the necessary resources that they need to operate. So I'll leave it with the experts on what they say. But specifically speaking, whether this is a President Boakai's budget, absolutely it's a President Boakai budget, and those key priorities in the development agenda for the arrest agenda is in key focus and is the factor for crafting this year's budget.
Are there yellow machines coming to Liberia?
1000%.
When should we anticipate? Because they didn't look like a Netflix TV that we anticipated. We waited for it. There was a teaser, there was a premiere and all this, but we have not seen this. We will see yellow machines coming into this country this year.
Is my mic muted?
No, you muted, but you on the radio.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay.
Sorry, are we expecting yellow machines this year?
Yellow machines will come to Liberia. The yellow machines procurement processes are in the concluding stages, according to the experts and the team working on it, the Ministry of Public Works and the institution that working behind the scenes to ensure that these are procured. Here's a bigger conversation that I want the Liberian people to believe. With President Boakai, he's not someone who will make empty promises and say, I'm going to do this for you, and it doesn't happen. It will happen. The yellow machines will come. And the other thing about government and structures,
You said it will come. The question is when.
Again, that's why I was coming. That's why I was coming. The thing with government procurement processes, there are processes, there are procedures, there are conversations, there are agreements, there are signing, there are expectations, and those sometimes it's not just a straight line. But what the end result will be, the machines will come, and the president is clear that the machines will come. When it will come, all of the necessary work that needs to happen will have to happen at the conclusion of those. And that, as you know, because the president is interested in this, he assigned his VP to ensure that this happens. And no one within the administration is, especially around the presidency, will want to be a stumbling block in ensuring that this happens, because this is the president's promise to the people, and that will happen because the people have been anticipating this, and it will happen.
My last question, guys, and then I'll turn it over to you. Anthony Fofana, it's good we address this particular thing because it's becoming like a dark horse all around, people talking about it. We've had mixed information concerning what it is. So I'll ask you this direct question. Is President Boubacar constructing a mansion, whether 10 million, 20 million, 5 million, whatever the value might be? Is the president constructing a mansion in Foya?
Diamond, the president is not constructing a mansion in Foya. The president, His Excellency Joseph Imam Boakai, built for himself 2 homes. And those homes were built long before some of us were born. The home in Rehab and the home in Bomi County. And those are the places he lived over the time. And he's still in his house in Rehab. He's not changed his location. He might go places like go to Bomi, go out of town, go in his village to Wasonga and other places and Foya. But he's not building a home for himself or anywhere else for him. That is not something that he's doing.
So then, is he concerned about the structure being put up in Foya? Others have said it's for him. Others have said it's government property. Others have said, from your insider position, is he concerned? Has he initiated an investigation into what that is? What funds is being used? How concerned is the president about that Foya project?
What I can tell you, Diamond, and the rest of the Liberian people listening and those watching, President Boakai is not constructing anything relating to anything personal. Again, the information that I have available to me, and this is something that President Boakai and I have not even had this conversation because there's no such of a personal project that's happening. That's what I can say.
But you said, it's good, but we don't have so much time and you have to go. So I'll turn over to Sylvester and the rest. It was getting better engaging than what it was. But the president, as president of the Republic of Liberia, has got eyes, has got ears. You said he listens to radio, he gets briefings and everything. And I'm sure he has been informed about what is going on. Is he concerned about that? Has he asked, who's building that? Bring me investigative report. Where is the money coming from? And everything. Is he concerned, Madam Fofana? That's my question.
Again, one thing I try not to do is to, be speculating, especially from where we sit. I will again be very, very clear with all of you in studios and the people listening is that President Boakai is not constructing any property for himself or whatnot.
So got that part.
Whether or not he's concerned, President Boakai is concerned about everything happening in Liberia.
What that project is?
That I don't know because we have not had a conversation about it.
That he asked what that project is.
I can say whether or not he's asked if there's a project or if he's been briefed or what's going on. What I can tell you is what we've had a conversation about is that he's not.
Recovery be looking into that as well?
Access Recovery was giving. There was an executive order that the president appointed and set up this Access Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force. They have a specific mandate. They have what they're supposed to be doing. And should their mandate extend to whatever it is, they will be able to do their work. I, as the presidential press secretary who speaks for the president, I cannot come and say, Access Recovery, go over there, you go find out how many things, that would be way above my... I can't confirm or nor deny that there's a project going on in FOIA. I can tell you that the president is not constructing any project. There is no presidential villa that the president is constructing. President has 2 homes. That's Rehab and Bomi County in Tottenberg.
Okay, yeah, guys, this investor, let's take it away so that the presidential press secretary. So whatever it is that is in FOIA, probably some aliens just decided to bless Liberia with a structure.
But you see, so I know my friends there are plenty of journalists, and I love the profession so much. And I've tried to be a journalist. Some of us ran away from the journalism field for some time. But you all have a very powerful thing, the investigative part.
Of course.
But unfortunately, I'm sure you agree with me. And I know I'll get a lot of hate for this. For me, I don't really mind. I speak my mind anyways. People, I know from this interview as well, that I will wake up to 99 tags and everything, but that comes with the territory. But I'm just going to say that the journalists need to really do their best in terms of being investigative. And not just be lazy at times. I think sometimes, some journalists will take a Facebook post and say something that they know is untrue. And a Facebook post that is not even, you don't have any level of fact. They're just saying, Madam PBS, can you confirm this? There's some things that you literally can do as a journalist. You have reporters, you have people, and with Spoon Network, you can do a lot to do your own investigation, do a whole series and give a full update if you believe that your listeners are interested in this. So our friends in the media need to do, put our feet to the fire and do some of that.
And where there is not a strict answer as to
except Diamond, except you want me to tell you what I don't know.
Not you. Example, this whole FOIA thing is shrouded in top-notch secrecy. There was a time we had a deputy minister say it's for Mano River Union. He came back and said he misspoke. There was a time you, the presidential press secretary, made a statement concerning that FOIA project. We've heard a whole lot.
That what? Because I'm right here, I can tell you what I said.
Yeah, but you know your statement. I didn't attribute a particular statement.
So what I said, I can tell you what I said was the same thing I've said today, that the president is not building any villa anywhere. He doesn't have a different home.
Liberia, especially a government of President Boakai, that is keen on accountability, transparency, and managing waste. Since that project was announced, videos shown, different narratives. As strong as the president is on anti-graft, we have not heard whether or not President Boakai has asked for an investigation into that project. Because it's concerning for me that a project will be happening in a country that I'm president of, and my people cannot get definite information as to what it is. What if it's a security threat to the Republic of Liberia? Who's constructing that?
Maybe it's your own interpretation of or believing or what the president knows or what he doesn't know.
Yeah, but actually, what does the president know?
So, no.
So, concern.
Right. So I'm saying the president is concerned about everything concerning Liberia. Whether it's something of security threat and whether it's not, whether the president has more information. And as press secretary, when we have a conversation, he tells me what is public, what should be public knowledge. The president receives security briefing almost every other time.
Meaning the president is aware of what is.
So important. I'm just telling you. That's the good thing about being a journalist, to believe when someone says something. But I'm telling you, you asked me. No. You said security. I'm telling you that President Boakai is not constructing anything of his own.
We're great.
Everything in the country, whether or not the president is aware with things happening in Liberia, in the region, he receives regular briefing from his team. So if anything of security concern, if your interest or your question is about security,
my question is, what is going up in FOIA?
Again, the president has not briefed me. relating to happenings of FOIA, particularly. But as it relates to the speculation that President Boakai is building a presidential villa, I will tell you 1,000% that President Boakai is not building a presidential villa. He doesn't have any personal project.
Is there anybody building a presidential villa?
Yeah, guys, just let me land on this for a minute. Anthony Fofana.
Yes, sir.
If you were to advise based on some of the information that played pivotal roles in President Weah at the time becoming unpopular to lose an election. One of those was information that he built, remodeled, refurbished his home on 9th Street and built a huge estate along the RIA highway.
Beautiful question.
And Liberians were angered by that. President Boakai came in on a campaign to do far better than that. And now you have a project. It's confirmed that there is a project happening here. A project that has been attributed to the presidency. And up to now, Anthony Fofana, as President Boakai is stern on anti-corruption, anti-graft, public waste mismanagement. We saw Amin Moda resign for steering a 5,000 vehicle. 95,000 vehicle. Thank you. We saw the labor minister in the headlines quite recently for a vehicle. Lavish. As presidential press secretary, would you advise that the presidency speak to this issue either by distancing itself or by acknowledging that it is and what the project is so that Liberians can get a better understanding of what's going up in FOIA?
That's a very good analysis that you've laid as it's related to former President Weah. Like I said, sometimes I really don't like to talk because getting into the past administration, you're talking propaganda, and our friends who don't like our stance in this administration will come at us, but that's the territory. But I will tell you, the difference between President Boakai and former President Weah is that back then, when President Weah became president, he went ahead to remodel his home, as you've mentioned clearly. President Boakai has not done any of that. So there's absolutely no comparison here. Absolutely none. Because when people lived in the rehab community, they saw where the villas came up and how quickly it came up. They saw the 9th Street property, how it was remodeled and all of that. But here, there's none. President Boakai, as I've mentioned a number of times, and others have mentioned, he is not building a presidential, private, personal, or anything for himself. He has 2 homes. He built those homes way before presidency or vice presidency, and he's still living in those homes. And that is the information. So there's absolutely no comparison of what former President Weah did and what the president is working on.
So my part of the question is, should the presidency address this issue head on? Either by distancing itself from it, confirming what it is, or letting Liberians know, because as long as it lingers on and there is so much uncertainty as it is, Liberians will come up with their own conclusions.
And that's true for anything. No matter what we say here, Liberians will have their own conclusion on things. But here's what I will say to this, and I hope that this will lay to rest all this, quote unquote. When the time comes and there's a need for the presidency, and the presidency sees fit, the president sees fit to say what's happening, that will be clearly discussed. You know, in government, and you should know this, there are things that happened. You know, there are lots of things that happened while we're sleeping, while we're awake, behind the scene. There are people on our borders. There are people investigating things, investigating people, just to ensure that Liberia is highly protected. That's why you've not had or heard of any major issues when it comes to national or international security, because our security teams are working. And there are things in government, whether it is, there are some things that are confidential, there are things that are public, there are reasons for which government operates in that way. But here's what I can tell you. But there's nothing in whatever President Boakai is doing sinister or negative or corruption in his, in that the president is doing. There's nothing, absolutely nothing. President Boakai does not have interest in acquiring property for himself or for any other person.
Okay.
He's built, like I mentioned, he has his farm in Bapolu. He's had that farm for a long time. And he visits once in a while. He's doing fishing. He's doing other things. Similarly, his home. So he does not have, and I hope this lays it to rest. But if anything that requires the safety and security of Liberians, the country, the president will protect the Liberian people when it comes to that. So Liberians should lay down and sleep. You have the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Liberia, the president of the Republic of Liberia, in His Excellency Joseph Iman Boakai Sr.
Yagazi, Worry, you want to take us home so that we let go of the PPS and we'll give at least 10 minutes. We've asked for an extension, 10 minutes for Liberians to call in and have an interaction with Madam Fofana, which doesn't happen every time unless Fridays via the various media outlets.
Yeah, so Madam Fofana, the Constitution provides the president the authority to appoint and to dismiss or to replace or remove at any time. But recent dismissers or remover have drawn concerns from the citizens of Liberia. One has to do with the one from the Enfield and the Labor Ministry. And many times when
did you say labor or you mean
mines?
Mines and energy.
Labor. And many times when the president removes or replaces a particular government official, sometimes the reasons are administrative reasons, but those administrative reasons are not, stated in the press statement announcing the dismissal or removal of those individuals, and that brings about speculation. A lot of people speculate that the person, like in the case of the mines and energy minister, there was a lot of speculations surrounding that, and some people even express doubtfulness, especially those who know those individuals, the personality, the character. They tend, to doubt that those individuals were either removed because of corruption. And so, do you think it is advisable for the sake of transparency, because government is about transparency, governance is about transparency? Do you think sometimes it's just prudent that the reasons for dismissal, especially when it is stated administrative reasons, do you think that administrative reason is just prudent that it be disclosed to avoid speculations?
So the way presidency works, it is at the discretion of the president. That is a constitutional mandate or purview that the president has, or discretion that the president has. Only the president can do that. The president will, in fact, the president does not even have to have any reason to dismiss you or to relieve you of your position. So I will equate a presidential appointment job as a vulnerable employment job, meaning that you can be hired today and tomorrow if the president have a dream and say, let me think, I don't think I can work with Yekezi.
So it means that the president probably did not do a proper maybe an investigation or
not necessarily
a proper background check before.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Not necessarily. The president, before he appoints anyone, he appoints them based on his reason and the people and what they bring to the table and what he believes.
Abruptly remove that person.
Well, if you say abruptly, I mean that will be your choice of words. But I don't think the president will just abruptly remove people. So I will give you, for example, as an insider, and I'm sure this one is declassified, because there were exchanges with the appointee, and there are some institutions that have procedures of relieving of certain public officials despite their work at the will and pleasure of the president. For example, the Enfield one that you mentioned, there were back and forth with the leader of the Enfield at the time, with the board. There was a board resolution, there was meetings held, there was requests made, there was intervention from the Ministry of State through the president's advice. They were back and forth. So the president did not just, quote unquote, abruptly removed Enfield director. So their procedure. And again, like I mentioned, the will of the president is like a court. Today he posts it on you, tomorrow he takes it off. Even for me, I'm sitting here today. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow. But again, I will be happy to. I will be happy to serve. I will be happy to serve my country even for one day. You know. So I'm just saying. Again, for the mines and energy, I know the former Minister of Mines and Energy, Honorable Woman Pay, as a stalwart of the Unity Party, someone former chairman, you know, and doing, you know, different things, you know. And even when he was minister, I visited him quite a number of times and saw some of the work he was doing. But again, the power is vested only in the presidency and the president to remove and appoint public officials, and no one can take that away from him.
Okay, thank you so much, Anthony Fofana. Sylvester Worry, just one question before we go to the phone.
Say that again. Come from the sporting background. Okay.
He used to play football, but now went
okay.
professional. Yeah.
So that year one day, no, so I go fabulous.
Concerned by Liberians, and it was risk in Paris during the president recent visit back for a Liberian residing in France. You know, do you know why since Liberia last qualified for any major competition? And if you look at the sporting budget from the previous government to the Guaga government, no major changes.
There has been a proposed major change for
so
close to 2 million.
Liberia have not been to any major competition. People are saying, President, we are who into the limelight to sport didn't do well. Is President Boubacar also concerned about changing that dynamic to see Liberia play in a major competition before his 6 years expire?
Well, you know what the president can do. The president is despite not being in your case where he play for a national or at the higher level.
But he go professional.
Okay, but he just let it keep business. So I was going to go there. The president is a staunch fan of Arsenal, and he loves the game. He loves sports, not just soccer, because in Liberia there's several different sports: the basketball, the tennis, you know, in the rest of the other games, the kickball as well. But Damo was just talking about this new, you know, I saw someone posted over almost 2,000% increment in the sports budget. And this, I think, is great. And the thing with Liberia going to international game, the government, the president can support, can do everything, but it also takes the technical people because sports is technical. I'm coming there, Chief. Sports is technical. So, and even there are teams that have the resources, but they still don't go far. So it comes with a lot of different things. It comes with the support, you know, getting players, consistent players. Because one of our other problems, I'm also a sports enthusiast. I love the game. I'm a Real Madrid fan. So the team, and also Lone Star, of course.
Yeah, we share Lone Star.
So one of our problems in Liberia is that when we have major game, we do not have our players practicing consistently. And sports or soccer is not just coming 2 weeks to the game, you come and train and you want to play magic. You have to have that long, you know, process. And also the upcoming county meet, I'm sure Cape Man will do very well because we've gotten our coach already. We're looking for that man by no, but on a serious note, Liberia and the team, the technical team, I know Mustafa Raji, the president of LFA, and others there, they're doing their best. I saw recently that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and team also working hard to ensure that we have a foreign coach. For me, I have a different thought about, you know, personally about getting foreign coach.
What's your thought personally about getting?
My personal thing is that Liberia has been in the game for a long time. We've produced the likes of Josh Weah, James Diba, and others. We must have had, you know, and these people are still around. They can do well once we give them the opportunity to come and contribute to the local games. And I think we need, if you watch the county meet, you see we have lots of young players, young stars who are interested in the game, they're passionate, they need a consistent support. So I agree with you with the budgetary support, but also with the technical framing with working with both the international players, but supporting the local players to actually do well with the discipline. Because sports, of course, soccer is discipline. The camps, the training, the consistency, and even the support as well. So a local coach, and then maybe have somebody technical, maybe international. Yes, you can pair them, but you give the local coach that appreciation of their own country will do well. You're not going anywhere you hear, so you have, it's not based on their contract. Yes, even though it could be contract, but regardless of the contract, you'll put more time, more effort, more thing, because it's your own and you want to do well. I think we can do well if we support our local team. And the other thing about sport, Liberians, even with the political conversation without toxic, everybody here, they're saying things. But when it comes to sport, just wait, everybody waiting for the county meet. We saw the pictures from the page, everybody getting gear up, supporting their teams, fundraising, regardless of their political school of thought. When it comes to the county meet, everybody come together to support their counties. So we naturally have that. We have to be able to build our county meet in a way they see the European Champion League. Those are the people county meet. Like those different cities, like we talk about Real Madrid is in Madrid in Spain. You have in the same Spain, you have Barcelona as a city team. You have, all these big teams, they're community teams, they're city teams, but they've built it, they supported it so much so that it reached that international standard. Imagine us building our county teams to that international standards. We book a spot on DSTV, the people play, everybody seeing it, and we ourselves supporting our teams, getting our jerseys, supporting them. We will go far because we have a track record. We have a history of producing some of the world's best players. We have Josh Weah. I saw that he was in Morocco the other day, which is a good thing. FIFA still comes to us. I know there are folks from FIFA who are coming here. So Liberia as a country have that history of doing well in sports. We have to leverage on the successes we've made in that, not doing the same thing. It's not soccer preparation is not one day. It's not 2 weeks to the tournament. It's not 1 month to the tournament. It's a plan, systematic plan, beginning with this budget increment. $2 million, that's a lot. Let's see what LFA can do with this. And we hope that majority of the resources will go to grassroots football, improving it and working with the national team, and not just on payment of salaries or, programmatic things there, but let it be something that will be sports development so it's consistent and it's long term. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I appreciate that. You spoke like a true sports enthusiast. So that's all of the time we have. Someone sent me a question that I should ask you. Is it intentional? Because I've noticed that whenever there is either mass suspension or people being relieved of their duties, it's either the president is out of town, the one I give back. It's either he's out of town, or he's out of country. Like the last series that happened, he was out of country. And just to add up to it too, yeah. Do you get text messages from officials when these things are popping up? Pull up money in there, pull up money in there. Is anything there for me? And that kind of stuff.
Like everybody, you just have to find a reason. You just gotta post something or nothing.
When the mass want to happen, the president was out of town.
I will tell you. Listen. Yeah. So what does that connotate? What does that mean?
Some people can say maybe you want to answer your call because people be calling and be crying.
But the people get WhatsApp no more than they can say reach him.
Is it intentional? Like the
no,
last
it's
one
not.
Out of the country when
no, it's not. No, it's not. Majority, almost everything that happened is coincidental. Even me sometimes, sometimes I'm not even on my computer and I see my email or message like, "Oh, Kula, this is up," and you have to be able to release them, and I have to do the press release real quickly and publish it so that you all can carry it in the news. So most of the time it's coincidental. It's not intentional. Say, oh wait, let me travel first before I leave it all. I know somebody said, but Kula, why you can wait 2 a.m. before you publish? 2 a.m. So the person waking up, when they wake up, they see that they'll be sleeping. When the person woke up and go to the bathroom, they are getting all this text message. But no, it's not intentional. And the thing with our work is when the president says, "This is it," I do my draft, send it through our communication channel. Once it's approved, it's okay, go ahead, we publish it. So almost all the time it's coincidental. Even the appointment time. Remember when we used to do the bulk appointment, people say, but Kula, why 2 a.m.? You can wear that debris small and stuff like that.
You and 2 a.m. because I read another update. It was at 2 a.m.
No, okay. So it's not necessarily me and 2 a.m. So for example, if I do my draft and I send it to our channel and it's approved, if I wake up, I have interesting sleep pattern. I mean, sometimes I sleep 3 sometimes, and I have to be up at 5, and so in between my work time, you know, and when there's something up and I get a notification, I just go ahead and do it. It doesn't mean that, but I'm up most times like during that early part of the mornings, like between 1 to 3 a.m. So if it's approved, so if I submit say 11 o'clock and then I go to take my sleep, if I don't see the notification immediately and I wake up at 12 and I see the notification, trust me, I have to put it out regardless of the time, but it's not intentional. It's not intentional.
So do you get
No, I don't.
messages like, oh, my name there? You get check that thing and see if that kind of stuff. We're humans, and everybody gets jittery when you see mass firing. They say when the frog in front you fall and you want in a hole and want to be on and then do you get those things? I know you're not going to disclose who, but do you get those?
No, I don't. But okay, so I don't get those tests as to whether my ninja or my nina there. But listen, let me tell you what test I can get. The test I can get, if there's appointment out, if there's something coming up, that somebody had tipped I try to recommend you for Sotio, but just check with your calculator. That time we talked to me for 5 months. Oh my God, look
check for appointment. People can also check for
so I say, I don't worry, when I need to tell you, see it. In fact, that's one specific instance is this person, I won't say the name, and then we had the appointment because, like I said, there's a communication channel. Once I do the draft, I send it through the channel and it's approved and it's present. In some instances, the president sees it and say, okay, go ahead, and then I go ahead. So in that time now, that's where people, because they say, oh, Kulak, I don't know, because we will put it there, and then they say, it's something or something else can happen, so I beg each other or no. But in a particular instance, the person like, yeah, you gotta tell me, man. You know what? I said, listen, like my work is professional. I can tell you whether your name there or is not there. I will not disclose how we work in the office because it's unprofessional to do that. But when your name there, you know how you will know. You will know by the calls you will get from your friends. Then everybody, when your phone chat ringing and you're getting all the notification, then the other part about it, and that's the interesting one.
People within the system, they still
no, it's
I mean, if somebody in some instances, because not all the instances, sometimes people get appointed without their knowledge. In many instances, and some people I recommend obviously, and the CVs are reviewed and stuff, or maybe even in some instances where you are supposed to be, there's a committee that you went through, you know, and then to see whether or not you will be selected. So those things happen. If you know tap for something, you're just waiting. If your need comes up, then that's it. You know, so those things, you know, normally happens. And it's not that, I mean, it's wrong, but sometimes people will want to know if their name is there or if they need to start packing the bag from their old office to transition to a new one or to be excited and celebrate. It's normal.
Okay. All right. So folks, we've had enough time with the PPS. She's got to go and do her job. We'd love to tell you thank you, Madam Fofana, for availing yourself. We look forward to much of this interaction, not just with us, as you've been doing with other media outlets as well. It lets Liberians know what the inner workings of the presidency is. We look forward to having you again. Thank you so much. Your parting comments to Liberians, is President Parker going to rescue the country before the first 6 years are done? Rescue? It's going to rescue?
You sure you won't finish the interview? You got another party comment now. Because another party comment and then come back. So when the president talked about rescue, he was specific that where the country was, it needed to be rescued. And that's where he is. We've removed, you know what a rescue mission is. You know, if you watch news and where our brothers and sisters get on the boat to say they're going to another country and they're about or their boat capsize and they're in that frame of mind, you either be rescued or that would be the end of it. And so the president and his team, his able lieutenant, went and took Liberia out of that dire situation. What that the Liberian people say, we want you to rescue us, and that happened. Where we are now, we're shaking the water from the boat that was sinking, and now all the leakages. So it will be challenges before coming ashore. So there's a process. Liberia have been rescued from the what a BB word in book can use from the dungeons of the pit. But on a serious note, there's a process, and President Boakai is clear.
Clarity quick.
Okay.
Did you, when you were mentioning those who should coach Lone Star,
Mhm.
did you mention former President Uyashu?
No. I didn't say specifically him. I said, let me say, I said Liberia.
Somebody just
I don't necessarily have to clarify, but let me just say in the interview, I'm sure you're recording this.
Yeah.
I'm saying Liberia have produced some of the world's best in terms of soccer. And former President Weah is one of those. We have that track record, and they are still around. They can help the Lone Star. And President Weah can help the Lone Star. Of course, he doesn't necessarily have to coach. He has the network in the soccer world. He knows people. He knows what they did to get to where he is. He still have his former coach, his former boss, Arsene Wenger. Arsene Wenger is still very active in FIFA. In fact, I met a friend who is friend to Arsene Wenger. In fact, now what we don't know what is not being published or talked about. Do you know FIFA is sponsoring and supporting grassroots soccer in Liberia right now as we speak? Yeah. The last of youngsters, they're on the academy at Kirisburg, working with them under 12, under 13, under 15 years, and they're doing very well. When you see those youngsters, in fact, some of them actually have traveled to Egypt. I do know they were in, I think, Burkina Faso the other time recently, and they're doing well. FIFA is doing that. So that's what we need. We need a consistency. So people like President Weah, instead of him just, I do respect the former president a lot, because I saw in the aspect of what he did in terms of soccer, that's something you can take from Liberia. And we regardless of our political school of thought, we can say that he can still support and provide support. So not necessarily, but he will be able to do some things with the Lone Star, and he should be welcome to do so if he wants to. And again, our people who are around him, they should encourage him to do that, because for us Liberians, we know him in that spheres. That's why he ran and he became president. But we know him in soccer, and it's something that we will the country should welcome his expertise on that area. Like I said, you want to interview. All right.
And I do project you talk about is headed by Arsene Wenger.
Yes, exactly. He's so doing that.
She spoke to that. It's not for the former president to be coach, but she said he can work.
He can support. He can support the team. But even if he wants to be coach, what's the problem with that? If he wants to be, what's the problem with that? That question. No. You see, that's where we Liberians, we see it as quote unquote coming down. I've seen people of different areas, not Liberians per se. They serve their countries in the highest peak, and in their retirement, they've gone down to teach children. They've gone down to volunteer in shelters.
Are you saying he should retire?
He retired from sports. He retired from sports. Didn't he retire? He hang the 14 chairs. So imagine, again, you see, that's the problem with we Liberians. Again, if he's retired from sports, politics is a different conversation. If I'm talking right now, I'm speaking about President Weah in the context of sports, former President Weah in the context of sports. If I was speaking in the context of, we talked a little bit about it in the context of politics and governance, of course there will be a different conversation altogether, because I know I cannot support former President Weah for president. I've never supported him. He knows this. We've talked about this. Even my friends within the cities, he knows this, because when it comes to governance and government, I know this is not his area. When it comes to sport, I can say all of the good things because I know how far he took the country and where Liberia image is when it comes to sport. And I can say that, regardless, because it is the reality, it's the truth. And so that's a separate conversation. So if we're talking in the context of sports, if we're talking in the context of soccer, in the context of Lone Star, in fact, if you're assessing his government, if you look at sport, that's why even one of the journalists talked about that he needed to have done a lot of work. The expectation was that Lone Star, even if it would not go very, very, very far, but at least the benchmarks, the things, the foundation he would have laid for Lone Star and other grassroots soccer is something that we did not see. Yes, we saw scrimmages of pitches here and there, but that's insufficient. That's insufficient to structural sport, especially coming from where he came from playing in the dust, Gibraltar, to going as the highest peak of sports, something that the sports people globally fight for. That's the highest peak, like the lawyers' highest peak at the Beachy Justice. The Beachy Justice, similarly to win the Ballon d'Or, the Ballon d'Or, and that's the thing. He's achieved that from all the way down there. So as a country from where you came from, The people expect you to do something tangible in that area. So when we talk about that, we talk about that. So I mean, you're
All right, folks. It's bye-bye for the last time.
But no, thank you all. I mean, thank you all. It was great having, being here. I'm always looking forward to these interactions. But please, I know, it's not easy to always be here, the time and schedules and whatnot, but I'll do my best. Let me know whenever I have the time. We can, have a conversation. It doesn't necessarily even have to be this. It can be any other subject. I'm open to, having conversation, talking about what the president is doing for the Liberian people. And thank you all, and great meeting all of you again, and to both of you for the first time into Diamond. Again, the executive mansion doors are always open. You're all welcome to come there. Welcome to let us know. And why are that talking laugh?
Because I know what has been coming in.
You see,
Kula is a lawyer and a politician.
The doors of the executive mansion are always open. You want to come to talk to us about the president? Let us know. We're just a text message, WhatsApp message, phone call away, and we'll make that happen.
We get a message.
That one is something else.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
guys.
Brother. That's all the time we have. We love to tell our network. Thank you for the extension. We will do our best to bring in everybody from every side of the aisle so that you get first-hand information. Kula has availed herself like any other person. We look forward to people from government, opposition, no position, and even you that's listening to provide us information once it's firsthand. Good news from Bond County so far. We pray that it continues that way, that nobody lost their life in that tanker explosion, and that it has been quelled. So the tanker explosion has been quelled. People work there, and there's no flaming happening again. Have for yourselves a wonderful day. Yakesi, thank you. Sylvester Worry, thank you. We're back tomorrow, or another team will be back tomorrow. All right, so we'll be back tomorrow. Thank you again for your time, and we play you commercials. Bye-bye. It's been a wonderful, wonderful program. Keep listening to Spoon 107.5 FM.
We are brave.